You ain't shit, homie. Don't even talk to me.
Don't even talk to me.
Why
your co-host?
Don't even talk to me on the podcast.
Don't even talk to me on
only podcast.
Look, this bitch about to say, welcome to CMN. Yeah, watch.
Yeah, he's calling me out on like doing the intro of the show.
Look, this dirty
fucking guy
still gonna do it.
Look at this nasty ass motherfucker. He's about to introduce the show.
Wow.
He's gonna follow the naming convention that we done since the beginning of the show. He's even gonna give me a stupid nickname.
What? Well, look at y'all. Now I'm gonna tell you what's about to happen. This asshole about to put this at the beginning of the episode as a stinger, and then the intro gonna happen right here.
In the first aeon, I was the Great Spirit. In the second aeon, men knew me as the Horned God, Pangenitor, Panphage. In the third aeon, I was the Dark One, the Devil. In the fourth aeon, men knew me not, for I am the Hidden One. In the fifth aeon, I appeared before you as Baphomet, the God before all gods, who shall endure to the end of the earth. In this new aeon, I appear to you as CMN.
Imagine that there is a brilliant white light just above.
Is commentary on the magic art.
In the years of the primal force, in the dawn of terrestrial birth.
Oh, that was very educational.
Now magic will take place. Don't be fooled by what I just said.
Welcome, everyone. I am Stay Mad Kennedy, and this is Chaos Magic News, the fakest clout-chasingest podcast on the occult sphere. Joining us, as always, is my positively new aeonic co-host, Horace B. Magick.
I'm Horace B. Magick.
How you doing, Horace?
I'm fucking miserable.
You can hear the laughter behind us. That is our lovely Gary behind the glass. Everyone wave to Gary behind the glass.
Hello, I can't see you.
And that other voice is one of our favorite people in the whole damn world, honestly.
Wow, interesting.
It's Coco Makhno from the Discord.
Go.
Yeah.
All right. Coco, how
I
you
love
doing,
Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, motherfucker. Let's do it.
Okay, a little too aggressive.
Your day ones are the most important people, okay? And Coco been here since the beginning.
Coco literally might have been like the fourth Discord member.
Coco was the guy asking if we had a Discord.
And then a Patreon.
Look, you guys have a Discord? And like, no, but we will. Hold on. Give me like 5 minutes.
No, I think you guys put up a thing on the Instagram that was like, would anyone be interested in a Discord? And I was like, fuck yeah.
Coco's like, I love Discord. I love everything about Discord and chaos. I'm a chaos magician.
And then he was like, wait, what? This is a like a website? You talk to people on it? I don't know about that.
Oh,
So I'm
I
still,
don't know
you
about
know
that
what?
shit.
He's like, fuck it. I'm still game.
We ball.
Fuck it. We ball.
Fuck it, we ball.
So, as all the initiated will know, the Feast of the Supreme ritual has just passed. Soon, within what, a week and a couple
a little
days,
more than a week.
Yeah. It will be the feast of the 3 days of the writing of the Book of the Law. It is a highfalutin thelemic time. We decided that the best course of action would to be like, I won't call this a Thelema special because we're not going to stop
It's
and
not
be
a
like
special. No,
this.
we're not-
This bald bitch went to Cairo and then he stole this house from the Loch Ness monster. We're not going to do any of this stuff. We are going to have a little bit of Thelemic centric talk.
Yeah, so if you guys don't like Thelema, just skip to the part where you hear co-host going, what's in the news?
That sounds like you should do that on every episode, actually.
No, hang on, we have to do it a couple more times to really confuse them. You're like, oh, you thought we were done talking about Thelema? Nope.
Just in the middle of it, it just be like, all right, what's in the... Actually, no, real trick would be like just the middle of it, have me all of a sudden going, ooh. That way you just skip to right at the 30.
Still doing the ooh part? Fucking hell.
Shit.
That's called a retention trap, guys. That's
Guess
gonna
what,
work.
listeners? That's what I do every time he does it.
What, you
Oh.
ooh?
No, I say that. Never mind.
So what's in the news, guys?
Reincarnation of Aleister Crowley says, man, you guys got this book all wrong.
You guys are fucking up.
Egypt says, that ain't our boy.
Went to those pyramids and no one knew you.
Lobster Newberg.
I talked to the secret chiefs and they said they hadn't heard of you.
They said you're looking kind of funny. They said they don't like your tone.
So, for the intro topic, I figured we'd all talk, because we all have varying degrees of relation to Thelema. Even G, who is like the lowest level on here, has some knowledge of Crowley and his stuff, I assume.
Yeah, he's a crossroads demon. He ended up becoming the king of hell for a little bit.
Really?
He's portrayed by a UK actor with a really cool... He kind of looks like a hobbit, but in real life. But like that's really cool. I know all about Thelema. I am actually a practicing Thelemite and have been for many a year. So, at least 14. There's 14 seasons of Supernatural, by the way.
Oh, thank God. I thought there was 15.
Oh, you might be right. I don't
I'm
fucking
only
know.
I'm on season 1. I haven't even gotten to Crowley yet. He's Crowley in that, right?
Yeah.
For everyone who only knows things because they read them, it's Crowley to keep the name holy. Crowley to treat him foully. Ozzy Osbourne got it wrong as well.
Didn't he only look at the cover of a book and be like, that sounds dope, I'm gonna make a song?
I wouldn't put it past him, and I mean that in the most respect possible.
I mean, it's interesting to me that the most Thelemic inspired guy in music was not the guy who had a song called Mr. Crowley. You know what I mean?
Right.
Isn't that odd? It's a bit odd.
That is pretty, yeah.
You wouldn't have guessed that if I
nose.
put if I pointed it to these two people and said, which one of them do you think is the Thelemite? Is it the one with Crowley in the song title, or is it the guy that talked about heaven in a song?
Wait.
Is this another episode of Is it Magic or is it baseball?
Is it Magic or is it The Cure?
Is it magic or is it something that Led Zeppelin stole from someone else?
Okay. I think that the biggest thing, and you know what, we'll even do the super truncated short version. Thelema was the religious magical paradigm established by Aleister Crowley that was kicked off by the writing of the Book of the Law. In a way, it's very, there's a lot of very complicated ideas in it, but in a strange way, it's also incredibly simple. It's the notion that you have something called the true will, which is the sort of guiding thread of your entire life. Your whole purpose of incarnation is to follow this particular pathway. And if you can find it, as the quote goes, the man doing his true will has the inertia of the universe to assist him. So it's the idea that you need to get in touch with this true will and follow it down the path wherever it leads, even in the face of Armageddon, never compromise, just go for it. That is where we get the phrase, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. That's when things start becoming complicated, because you say, do what thou wilt shall be the whole. It sounds like, do whatever I want. Fuck yeah, that's what I was going to do anyway. And then you kick over your grandma's ashes.
It is simultaneously the most misunderstood and prolific statement in all occult circles. Not just Thelema. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law is something that gets said not only in Thelema, but also Satanism, also Wicca. Popular rephrasing of it in Wicca was do what thou wilt and harm none, or
but
something
cause
like
no
that.
harm or something like
do
that.
No harm.
But then the Book of the Law says strike hard and low and to hell with them.
The actual writing of the Book of the Law is a fascinating experience. Crowley had just married a woman that, by his own admission, he was not really in love with and was only doing it so she didn't have to marry some other guy. That's kind of a fun thing to do when you're a wealthy young English guy. Just I'm going to marry a woman just so someone else doesn't have one.
Just so you can't have her.
That is very of the time England, though. I mean, they're taking things from other people all the time, so.
Ooh. Then Crowley stuck her in a museum.
In all honesty, it's actually kind of a nice move because it's keeping her out of a forced marriage. And from what I've heard, Crowley wasn't exactly doing horrible things to her yet.
Yet?
Yeah.
They go to Egypt.
Yeah, they go to Egypt. And during that period, he does some magic. Some weird stuff happens. And eventually, she starts telling him in a trance-like state that they are waiting for you. And when he asked who is they, she said Horus. Horus being the Egyptian god of the sky and a symbol of the pharaoh.
The hawk-headed one.
The hawk-headed one, the son of Osiris. Crowley does some things to test her, such as like, all right, which of these planetary things is associated with Horus? Which of these elements is associated with Horus? He even has a wonderful work called The Equinox of the Gods you can read through, where Crowley lays out virtually all the questions you could have about the reception of this book and what happened. And there are certain questions about how it happened and what he wrote down, but for the most part, it's accurate. Crowley eventually, after doing more magic and being instructed, is told that he has to go to a hotel room that is specially prepared, and at 12 at noon for 3 days, he's going to sit down and write down this dictation that one of these spirits, one of these entities is going to give him. And he spends 3 days at noon, goes into the thing, sits down, and writes out what he hears. And he describes it as like hearing a voice over his shoulder, talks about getting the impression of the person doing it being a person of fine matter and having a Syrian dress. Weird little experience, but we're left with this interesting little book talking about Egyptian gods and saying stuff like do what thou wilt and every man and woman is a star. And at the time, Crowley didn't really think much of it. He kind of was like, this seems pretty fucking weird, and I don't know how to feel about it, but he just kind of throws it away for a little bit. I just had all this Golden Dawn stuff happen. And after a very brief time, Crowley comes to see this as the most important document, not just for him, but for the whole of humanity. And that this document was ushering in a new age. The Age of Aquarius idea often gets compared to it, and there's similarities, but we'd have to get into a deeper conversation about what Crowley means when he says the new aeon.
The important thing is that this is the book that is laying out the procession of the aeons from the past two, the aeon of Isis, the aeon of Osiris, and then the aeon of Horus. And each aeon has a particular formula that one would work with, and a particular word, even a word, and that word being Thelema. And this particular formula and motto of do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. 93, there's all these things. I don't share Kennedy's reverence of it quite so much. I do appreciate a lot of it, but I don't, I'm not going to get into all the bells and whistles of it. The point being that as far as Crowley was concerned, he was the prophet of a new dawn in human history. And he was setting about the creation of Thelema and trying to spread it far and wide so that everyone could be down with the aeon of Horus. And by and large, it has been a colossal success and a colossal failure, depending on who you look at.
Well, you can look at the same people and see that it's a colossal success and a colossal failure.
What do you think the split is? Do you think it's like down the middle?
I think it goes through the heart of every man, woman, and child on this planet. I think there's a little bit of this fuck up in all of us.
I think everybody's a Thelemite.
I think it goes without saying that Aleister Crowley is the single most influential occultist of the 21st century, right?
Yeah, Aleister Crowley's like the coolest cool guy ever,
Well, even if you hate Aleister Crowley, like
he's
have
everywhere.
To admit, he's everywhere. There's not a single current, there's not a single aspect of occultism that hasn't had to reckon with Aleister Crowley.
You might not be able to stand Crowley, but the people that you learn from him. Is really how it goes down.
Yeah, that's actually a fair point. Yeah,
I suppose if you looked at it at some of Crowley's more contemporaries like Dion Fortune and stuff like that, you could, in theory, look at magic that is exclusively removed from Crowley. But if it's anything past 1950, there's some Aleister Crowley influence in it.
Even people doing like traditional magic practice in this day and age have to reckon with what Crowley did for magic and what's the word I'm looking for here? Maybe like the meritocracy of what Crowley thought of magic. Because I think that's the big thing for Crowley, right? Crowley thought deep down in his bones that all of these spiritual magical practices were all about who is the best at doing them. It had nothing to do with who you were as a person. It had nothing to do with your moral or philosophical outlook on the world. Granted, I think Crowley would say, if you're good at it, you probably think like me or something like that. But that's another story. The whole point is Crowley thought the idea of having a moral condition be the requisite for spiritual enlightenment and magical practices was completely ridiculous. And what he wanted to do was create a system that took that entirely out of the equation. Whether he did that is a bit up to debate. But in theory, with the creation of his magical order, the AA, what Crowley was trying to do was give anyone who could possibly sit down and read through the instructions and have someone above them that they're willing to listen to could achieve things that we would say are high-level spiritual advancements. Because of that, every traditional or more religious area of occultism has had to reckon with that and go, well, why is it that I have to be like a good person to do these sorts of things? Why can't we take a look at it from a pragmatic and a almost scientific, it's not quite scientific, but at least from an empirical standpoint, and be like, what am I doing with these practices and what should the result be?
Right. Taking morality a little farther from the equation, if not entirely out of it.
The Nietzsche of the occult.
Well, yeah. Exactly. All of that said, as a chaos magician, why would any of us still be influenced by Thelema? Why would any of us call ourselves Thelemites?
Because it's fucking rad. Yeah, there you go. Remember, that's where the guitar goes.
Just pictures of like G doing a kickflip.
I'm doing a fucking, yeah.
Well, I've got a couple answers, but I think I'd like to hear from the room first. Coco, you got any thoughts on this before I start pontificating?
Oh my God, in front of us?
Like, yeah.
Naughty dog.
Whoa. I think the whole system is appealing, like gives you like a good structure to work off of, and whether you want to like tweak things as you're going and I'm not going to do that part of it, or like I'm not really down with that side of things. It's a good structure to kind of work off. Like it has a goal to work towards. I feel like that is something that like a lot of chaos magic finds lacking, is like a definite goal to work towards.
By design, in some cases, just in what I've seen.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of his rituals that he wrote down and worked through, there's a definite, like, you do this ritual, you do it this way, you get this result. Generally, unless something goes weird, like, you get that result. And I know that's kind of antithetical to what chaos magic is, of, like, just do whatever you want, do some wacky shit and get a result.
Well, what it is, especially as a time that, again, pre-chaos magic, it's very refreshing to see such a clearly written and instructive text. Think about all the older grimoires that were still being tossed around. Like, think about the Goetia stuff that Crowley was doing effectively at the time, and then compare that to something like Liber HHH, or compare that to like anything from Liber E. And it's just very simple. Like, look, sit down. Imagine a body of light being formed above you or to the side of you or something like that. And then once you have it nice and solidly formed, try to throw your consciousness into it until you can feel yourself in this body. That's already leagues ahead of like the green butterfly Kabbalah, where it's like, go find a wicker box, go out into the woods at a specific time. You will know when by the glory of the light inside you. Like, no, this man is giving you simple instructions and telling you do these things and you will see what results you get. He's not even telling you half the time that you're going to get this result. He will tell you something like, this should be what happens, but make sure you're writing this shit down. You never know. Liber Samek, his version of the Bornless ritual, is very specifically like, this is a skeletal framework for you to build a ritual to achieve the knowledge and conversation of your own holy guardian angel off of. That's why in the commentary of it, he gives so many different like little things like, oh, hey, instead of saying Asa or Nefer here, you might want to like use your holy guardian angel name. Or if it's like the first time you're doing it, you say Ra Horkuit, just things you can try. It's very refreshing, especially in an age where, like the Golden Dawn stuff is a little more accessible than this stuffy robed PMG shit, but.
And you didn't have to learn Latin.
Oh, it's definitely readable. Yeah, like it's not hard to kind of consume.
So and at the time, it's very different to see someone explaining these things in that sort of way. And I think what is still so accessible about Crowley now is that he was writing in that way. And if you're someone that's already like a chaos magician, it's great because you can just find these things and be like, all right, well, let's test them out and see how they actually work. You're not influenced by, or you're not taken in by the mystique of Thelema, as it were.
Right.
Even just at a base level, like, he's a really good writer. Like, say what you want about him. Like, dude could write.
Yeah.
He's entertaining. He's funny. Like,
Well, it's charisma that is a selling point. At least, again, coming from an entry-level person such as myself, you hear the do what thou will. That sounds fucking sick. I could do that shit.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted.
And then you get into it and you're like, oh, it's more than that. It is about, there is a discipline here. There is a structure.
Yeah, there's more to this than just looking edgy and Egyptian.
Right. But it uses that as like
that
a
is
selling
a big
point.
part.
Right,
That's a
yeah.
big selling
it
point.
is.
It's like season 3 of JoJo. You know what I'm saying?
It is absolutely. It is legit that. You go, don't worry about, like, I know there's a lot of text here, but just like check this guy out though. He's pretty funny.
Deal.
So
okay. So now that we've heard all of the wrong opinions, I'm going to tell you guys why Thelema is actually important.
okay.
Ooh.
Wow, co-host with the
Because
most.
I'm Aleister Crowley.
It's because I'm
and I've
the
decided to
reincarnation.
reveal it today.
Oh, God.
I've been Crowley host this whole time.
I just got Crowley pilled.
Well, actually, I want to highlight what Coco said real quick because I do think that's an interesting point, and that the idea of very often there is the notion of you figure out that magic works, right? Fuck, I can make weird things happen without a rational causal explanation. I got the raise at work. The neighbor's dog, their head fell off. I
got The Mask 2 on DVD.
Yeah, I found that copy of The Mask 2 that I was looking for. It's like, it's like all the, I have big Tibney goth girlfriend now. It's like everything that I could possibly want is in my clutches. And then you stop and think like, well, if magic actually works, what the fuck do I really do with it? Like, do you spend your whole life in this weird hedonist slogfest where you're just trying to get whatever thing piques your interest at the moment? Or do you look and try to find something deeper and more meaningful or whatever you'd want to call it? Grant Morrison even talked about that, where it's like when you realize that magic works, you feel a little lame, kind of just using it to get laid all the time. So you're like, well, what do I do?
Well, maybe you nerds do.
Yeah, maybe you dorks. No, but
Yeah, I
the
don't need
answer is
magic for
that
that.
eventually you'll come full circle and you'll be like, oh, I just do it. To get but that's my true will. No, but
Above the abyss, getting a girlfriend and being spiritual are exactly the same.
when I reach
the
when I reach the sphere of Banah, I see the brotherhood of the pyramids.
That's what you're calling your.
I just see the big. I just realized the pyramids are big Tibneys.
Oh yeah, there we go.
No.
Everything's a cup and a sword. You're right.
You're so close. You're so
God, no,
close.
fuck. All right, no, time out. We have to initiate G into the 9th degree of OTO now. He found out the secret.
He figured it.
Oh shit.
Okay, look. The point being that Thelema, at the very least, if you were coming from Chaos Magic, then going to Thelema does offer a useful model to go towards finding your true will, or the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel, that sort of thing, and that there's something to climb that is going to elevate you to your higher self, or some sort of force that is beyond your plain Jane ego that is busy jacking off onto squiggles. And I think that is definitely worth talking about, even though the point I'm about to make following it is almost going to spit in the face of that. But we contain multitudes. We contradict ourselves. That's chaos magic. I think in a lot of ways, Aleister Crowley and Thelema is very important because it is actually the beginnings of chaos magic. If anyone's familiar with Liber Astarte, or really just Crowley's heavily syncretic and eclectic approach to occultism, where he was finding out what worked and basically telling you, what's the quote? It's Liber O, right? And this book is written much of the spheres and the Sephiroth and blah, blah, blah. But the important part is that doing certain acts, certain results follow. The student is heavily warned against ascribing philosophical or literal validity to any of it, where this man was telling you that it's like, if you just do the work, certain things are going to happen. And it doesn't matter what I tell you it's causing it. Is it Nuit and Hadith? Is it the Aethers? Is it psychology? Is it magic? It's like, that doesn't matter. What matters is that if you do blank, you will get something akin to this. And that is chaos magic. That's what chaos magic is really about. Keep going at magic with the orientation of what gets results. It doesn't matter what you believe. And the only reason you should care about what you believe is if whether or not it's able to be used to get you better results. And that's the thing that I think a lot of times gets missed in chaos magic. You think, oh, I can believe whatever I want. And it's like, well, you can, but you should really be like, whatever I believe is only in the idea of serving my results. When Crowley was telling you engage in a sort of single-minded monastic, almost devotional practice to a god till you attained oneness with that god, and then say, all right, then drop everything and then go do it again with a different god. He's trying to illustrate something. He's trying to make a point about the practical application of these practices and what they'll get you. And then the idea of like, well, if I can do this with any god, and how many people read that and they were like, well, what if I do it with a god that I know for a fact isn't real? What if I do it with a god that I just made up? People did that. I'm sure people did that shit. And I'm almost certain that it works. Crowley's, again, I guess, heavily eclectic and heavily syncretic, but also deeply, deeply practical application of these methods is the foundation that chaos magic comes out of. And it's funny enough because the IoT basically comes out of a bunch of people who saw like OTO and Golden Dawn type magicians and couldn't stand them. They were like, this is bullshit. This is all like stuffy robe nonsense. And they didn't like it in the weirdest way that all the fuckers that Peter Carroll and Ramsey Dukes and Phil Hine didn't like and couldn't stand are people that were reading the guy that gave them the various things that allowed them to develop chaos magic. And that's not to take away from Spare at all. Like really, because I understand Spare is another huge influence.
Those are the two that everyone points to. It's Spare and Crowley. And you're completely right. Those are the two major forces. That is the dialectic of chaos magic in motion right there.
And eventually they didn't like each other either.
No, they did not. For those of you who don't know, Austin Osman Spare was a member of the AA for like 5 minutes.
And then it was like, this is lame, and I'm going to go do my own thing.
I'm going to go hang out in a bar with prostitutes.
I'm going to go continue drinking.
I'm going to go hang out in my basement with a bunch of cats.
Yeah, 75 cats. Oh no, we're getting bombed in England. I guess I'm not going outside today.
Uh-oh.
Here's what I think is the important thing about Thelema, and I'm sure lots of people will disagree with me, right? But about 90% of Thelema, at a guess, is nothing but self-discipline. One is only allowed to do anything and everything so as to have more scope for exercising that virtue. Concentrate on thou has no right but to do thy will. The point is that any possible act is to be performed if it is a necessary factor in that equation of your will. Any act that is not such a factor, however harmless, noble, virtuous, or whatnot, is at best a waste of energy. In the way that chaos magic itself is the dialectic of Austin Osman Spare and Aleister Crowley, I think the modern position as a magician has to be, in some way, the dialect between chaos magic, results, and what you can do with them, and what Crowley is talking about. The self-discipline and understanding of what it is you're supposed to do. It's a very tough thing to point out exactly what that means for any given individual. Crowley wouldn't try to do it. But whether it's a metaphysical one, an ideal one, or just a pragmatic one, you have to understand when what you're doing is just playing around, having fun, being a big spooky woo-woo. When it's just, I get a good feeling in my bones about talking about Tipperath. When it's just, hey, I really need the $40 this week to make the rent. Somewhere inside of you, you have to understand what the greater purpose of what you're doing is, and the self-discipline to be able to not only do it, but also to keep yourself from playing around with fucking spooky fairy stuff.
And then I think that the chaos magic answer to that is that ultimately there isn't any. All of these justifications and ideas that we have of what we're supposed to do are just as arbitrary as anything else. At the same time, if you follow that thread down to the end of the road, it's like capital N nihilist. When nothing means anything, what the hell? What is the point of doing anything? So I think somewhere, for better or worse, we are most modern occultists, whether they ascribe to either philosophy or not, is somewhere in between that notion of "do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," and nothing is true, everything is permitted, and we're just letting these two battle it out with each other.
Yep, and the only way you get out of that is getting above the metaphysical claptrap, where you're going to say, above the abyss, orange is also black, and black is also orange.
And orange is the new black.
That's almost in that existential nihilism, really. It is nihilism when you go the full brunt of it, right? But
we haven't had a Heidegger moment for a while, right?
Heidegger moment.
This is a certified Heidegger moment.
That's me opening up my natty.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
The Cartesian metaphysics and the Western tradition, the way it has led, and the society it's created through its understanding of being, has led to this. It has led to nihilism. That's why chaos magic is so important, and it represents, as we called it in the very first episode, the furthest push, the leading edge of occultism, because it is the end of the road.
There's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go. That's why Thelema is so important, because Thelema hit that same wall. Not in the same way, but in the way that like Aristotle being a thing means that we have capitalism. They hit the same wall, and for chaos magic, the answer is there is no answer. You have to either be an absurdist and try to craft your own meaning, or like a Sartrean where you're like, I'm so radically free that I can do fucking anything, but that means I have to choose to be mad about my Cheerios getting soggy. Or you can do what Thelema is trying to do. You can do what people like Heidegger were trying to do. Opening of these new horizons of understanding. And that is the big thing about someone like Heidegger. That's the big thing about someone like Crowley, is that what they are ultimately aiming at is trying to create something so radically different from what we have now, both on an internal level from the individual and ultimately what the world is going to do. That has been your certified Heidegger moment.
I feel like it's the thing that like Bataille was also trying to do.
Oh yeah, Bataille's in there as well. It's the same kind of thing. Heavy overcomings of the modern condition. And there's lots of occult people that are on about that. There's a lot more that are just trying to like wave around spooky fucking phoenix wands and say that they're the reincarnation of some Egyptian priest. But,
Well, you know what I'll say? It goes back to the thing that I've mentioned a lot, where it's like having a big spooky mystical experience is great. If it doesn't inform the way that you behave in the world, then it doesn't really matter.
Truth.
And that's what I'd say about Thelema, and that's what I'd say about chaos magic in general. Very easy to be like, oh, nothing is true, everything is permitted. And I understand you can't go nothing is true, everything is permitted, and then go shoot somebody at the gas station, because then you'll go to jail.
Well, you could. Well, that's what I was about to say. You'll go to jail.
It's like that sort of thing
If
where
you
it's
can
like
deal with the
not very
repercussions of
nice.
your actions. Yes,
But it was my will.
But then that's the Thelema thing, though. It's like, if your true will was to shoot somebody at the gas station, you're going to fucking do it. But that means that your true will was also to deal with the consequences.
I mean, to be honest, you met some motherfuckers where you're like, your true will is to go to jail, ain't it?
Well,
honest to God.
But the point being that ultimately, chaos magic doesn't have any answers. At best, chaos magic can be an opening that provides a space for something new to come out. That might be something that could formulate an answer, if that makes sense. And then Thelema is also a system or a through line that does attempt to have an answer. Whether that answer is satisfactory is up to interpretation.
Well, because I was sort of like chaos magic as like the like postmodernism, like the tearing down of like the old traditions and stuff like that. But then like you need something to come in after that to then bring things back around. And I feel like there's kind of a lack of that in the magic community.
What you notice is that Thelema did do that. That's what Jake Stratton Kent was talking about when he called everybody folk Thelemites and shit. Not in the ways that you would want, right? Not in the ways that even Crowley would want, probably. We have all become secret Thelemites. The same way that how chaos magic has, by virtue of chaos magic being so ubiquitous and everywhere, people are chaos magicians and they don't even know it. But the issue being, we're not all Aleister Crowleys, you know? We're not all Austin Spares. Most of us are walking around with these sorts of ideas, and at best they're us trying to hold on and keep a flame in the dark world, hoping that we can find something that we will get that moment, that apotheosis, that moment of that catharsis where we accept and understand the world how it is.
My doctor,
what's going on.
My doctor gave me a cream for my apotheosis.
I saw it was working earlier.
Well, like, I mean, it's also the thing.
90% of people see clear skin within. I'm sorry.
You are
He was
radiating.
so committed to it.
I'm sorry.
You're glistening even.
No, continue.
We only wanted to talk about occultism.
Oh,
you know what the
my
show's
God.
about?
Is our show about occultism? I thought it was about clout chasing and being being stupid,
Being miserable.
being dumb and miserable or something.
Anyway, Coco, what were you saying?
I
I don't even fucking know, you idiots. You
remember.
ruined my point.
I'm sorry.
I had a
I stepped
I had
out
a
of
good-
line, boss.
I had a good point, and then these fuckers wanted to talk about, like, you know, dermatology joke.
Skincare
Yeah.
and
To use it
shit.
every
All I
day.
know
Today's
is that
sponsor is
Exactly.
look, I'm just saying that true will is when you pay someone $50 to tell you the name of your holy guardian angel.
Okay,
And if you pay $5, we can tell you on the Patreon.
If you give me $5, I'll tell you your angel's name right fucking now.
Give me
Is
$5
it
fucking
Ricky?
dollars, dude.
I'm
It's not a
giving you
it's not a
hint.
joke.
It's Ricky.
oh,
It's Huey,
I remember the-
Louie, Dewey.
Quick, before you lose
and
the point
Cletus.
again, what were you saying, Coco?
Sorry.
oh, god damn it! Did I lose it again?
We're a
No,
terrible.
no,
This
no.
is
Okay,
terrible.
all
I'm
right,
so
here we
sorry.
go. I got it. All right, so the whole point I was going to make was like Crowley had the luxury, and same thing with Spare to a degree, because Spare was just like, I'm just going to live in squalor and I don't care. Crowley had the liberty to be like, oh, I'm going to do this massive ritual, and then I can like chill in my hotel room for 3 days and really ruminate on it. And we're like, I'm going to do this massive ritual, but then I got to wake up and go to Target tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning.
Well,
my
yeah.
groceries are getting ready to pick.
Why don't you just live in
go?
Why don't you just live in squalor?
Yeah. Why don't you just live in squalor? Why don't you just live in the box?
Yeah.
Why don't get in the box?
Live in a
Get in
live in a hovel with the hovel with your weird cat. Who cares?
Patreon.com. You can afford a box yourself too.
Here's
What's
what I'll
inside the
say.
box but another box?
And
You know?
because everybody here knows the situation that I live in, and it's like not like I'm dealing with anything that anybody else isn't dealing with, but you know, I have obligations as a householder, is how they would phrase it in a lot of the Eastern traditions, right? I don't have. You're right. I don't have the luxury of just like dropping everything, and I'm like, I'm going to go on like a spiritual retreat for 6 months or a year or something like that. I can't do that. I barely have time to wash my ass and do the podcast.
Oh my god! I was thinking
you know?
it. You said it.
I know. It's because I'm
I swear to
Magic.
God, I was like, he's gonna say wipe his ass.
He's gonna
or
say
something.
wash his ass. So it's like, yeah, you know, and that is ultimately the issue that we face with modern occultism, is that most of us don't have the luxury of just dropping everything and dedicating inordinate amounts of time to our magical practice. But at the same time, magic is the birthright of all people. So how do you square the circle on that? You know, I don't get to drop everything and run off to Spain or something like that and then have everybody go, oh yeah, that's Cohost. He's trying to be invisible again. We just ignore him. You know, we don't do any of that. We don't get to do that. The answer becomes, do you burn down your house, fake your death, collect the insurance money, and just live a quiet, reclusive life till you produce your magic? Or do you do the best you can with what you have and hopefully use that magic to like keep your light bill paid? I know the answer that I've found, and I think it's the same one that everybody else in this conversation has, but it's not always clear cut as, well, of course I've got to pay my taxes. You don't necessarily have to. I mean, I think there's some people that if you really found the root, if you found the pattern of your life and saw what was really driving you, you might not be holding on to some of the things in your life. But that is a conversation I don't think most people are ready to have. I know I'm not ready for it right now. That's hard.
Tell you what, co-host, what was your experience with Aleister Crowley? Like, what was your first Thelema thing? What was the first thing that you ever were like, oh, this is that there Aleister Crowley cat?
The first thing I ever did that involved out that
Your first experience.
My first experience. The first experience I can really think of with Aleister Crowley, the Book of Lies.
Really?
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, which is so bizarre in hindsight, where it's like I feel like you almost need to know a little bit about Crowley before you listen to that.
Need to.
Instead, it's like this guy's giving you like Western cones. I'm sorry. I've said koan so long because I was a kid that read more than I knew.
It's not koan.
It's cones. I'm pretty sure it's like Zen. It's Zen cones. And I read it and it was like koans.
Ah, yes, the 35th element, koans.
The Higgs koan.
The Higgs koan. They blew up the Higgs koan, everybody.
That's what I hear when I'm at mass.
Uh-oh.
If there are two people on a podcast and neither of them talk, do they make a sound? He's koan host.
Get out of here, dog.
I've said, but like I've literally said that
no
so much where it's like I've said koan and it's like that is not the word. Why do you keep saying it like that?
That's hilarious.
But yeah, the Book of Lies was my first big interaction with Crowley. A lot of those are honestly burnt in my head at this point. You know, even the joke of, you know, there's a sucker born every minute.
I love the Book of Lies.
Coco, what about you? What was your first experience with Aleister Crowley?
So I wound up like kind of like, because I was still like heavy into the whole like chaos magic thing, and I was trying to like kind of figure out what I wanted to do with it. Vaguely, I don't remember how I first. I mean, like obviously, like run around in occult circles enough, like you hear the name Crowley a bunch, and you're like, oh, I wonder if there's anything to this. And I wound up, I'll never forget this. I wound up looking around because I heard about the Thoth Tarot, and I was like, I kind of want to get like another tarot deck. That might be cool. And I wound up going onto eBay. This tells you how long ago this was. Just seeing if there was like anything for sale. They were all $500-$600. They were like ridiculous amounts of money. About ready to give up. I scrolled down one more time. I saw one that was listed for like $50, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just bid on it and see what happens. Bid on it, forgot about it. A couple weeks later, I get a thing that's like, hey, by the way, you won your bid. Oh, okay. And it was like for how much I did, like no one else bid on it.
Oh, fuck right.
And it arrives in the mail, and it's an original printing of the Thoth Tarot in like the large format.
Heck yeah.
Fucking Christ.
You're
so
just
sick.
like me. We did like almost the same thing there. Yeah. That's awesome.
Wait, is that how you got yours?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
man.
exactly like verbatim. We did. I went on eBay, got saw. I was like, really? Yeah, that's fucking sick.
That's so
and no
weird.
one else fucking bought it. Like,
it's like people
That's
don't
awesome.
like this guy or something.
they were just falling off the shelves. I was on the fucking sidewalk, and there was
I
one
don't know who
laying
this
right
Thoth
there.
guy is, but he's not very good at making tarot. I tell you that much.
Huh? Tahote. Interesting.
No, stupid. It's a book of Thoth. Everything in there is a bunch of Thoths. One Thoth, two Thoth, red Thoth, blue Thoth.
Brady's so cool, man. I think I need a
Blue
flu
Thoth
shot.
sounds like you're saying blue sauce, like Mike Tyson.
I thought those were those people that take weird photos on Instagram.
No, those are
Be gone, Thoth. That's the clip. There we go.
All women are queens.
There you go.
If she breathe, she the Thoth.
She's the Thoth.
She the Thoth. See the Thoth.
I'm gonna take the soul out of your Thoth.
God, I hope he just eviscerates Jake Paul.
Well, yeah, he's got Thelema on his side, so.
Oh, God.
Mike Tyson saying Thelema is like a 14-minute ordeal.
No, it's the only word he says super, like, Thelema.
He's fine.
Yeah.
I'm totally good at this TH nonsense.
Hey, schedule all my stuff to Thursday, okay?
Barry, what was your first experience with Aleister Crowley?
I have built a secret door to the
No one's gonna like this episode. It's way too esoteric.
Esoteric.
Just making fun of people with speech impediments.
The episode
Great.
art is
We're
not
getting canceled.
us sitting with Mike Tyson, then you did it wrong.
It's all right. He fucking listens. He's cool.
Patreon.com/Chaos Magic News.
MikeTyson.png. There you go. Slash on that. You'll find it.
All right, are we good? Can we go on to the next segment finally?
Well, hey, you fucking asked me a question and then we're moving on.
Do you wanna
Okay,
give your
cool.
Experience, Aleister Crowley?
Hey, Gary.
Hey, yeah, what's up, Coco?
Hey, Gary, how did you get into Thelema or Aleister Crowley?
Thank you for asking me, Coco. I really appreciate it, man. You're like my favorite guest, actually host.
I think it's their podcast now.
Can we get Jack in the Box?
Actually, my first experiences with it were from you, Kennedy. And I don't mean that as like I joined the Discord and stuff, but you and I have known each other for some time, and just like being introduced to that world of things was kind of through you.
What Gary is saying is that his first experience was like, well, it was 2:30 in the morning and I get a message from Kennedy and he's like, bro, you know this fucking Aleister Crowley dude? Holy shit. Like, he's talking about this dude got a hawk head and shit. And he's saying, I am the strength, force, and vigor of your arms. And I'm like, what? I don't know what the hell to do with that. And it's like, well, you can put these arms around me, big boy. And then, like, we get it.
What are
we
you
get it.
doing?
Yeah, I sucked him off and I learned about Thelema. It was great.
Well, that's how
Isn't that
everyone
how
in
they
the
all got
OTO
started?
learned.
Hey! I was initiated. There we go.
All right, so are we ready for the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're not. Co-host is literally just talking to his cat now.
He walked up and started pawing me like you wanted attention. All right, well, this is what you know what's about to happen. I'm going to pick you up, and then you're going to be like, no, that is the opposite of what I wanted.
I wanted you to give me water.
Probably. He's fat. Probably wants food. What it is that it's late.
Yeah.
So he thinks that it's like we're supposed to be upstairs.
Oh, right. He's like, why
Dad,
aren't you in
it's
bed?
bedtime.
Yeah.
He's like, Papa,
Papa, I need
Why
to be
do we not
snuggled.
Why do
sleep
you do
this-
the podcast?
why do you do the podcast, Father?
only have few listeners?
Oh.
You're just talking shit about like, you have how many subscribers, Papa?
Come on, Papa.
Papa.
You could be doing other things, Papa.
You could
Papa,
have you
could play
considered
Fortnite?
Have you considered learning coding, Father? Perhaps this would help your financial uncertainty.
Starts leaving pamphlets for Phoenix University in your bed.
Data
Everyone
analysis
will
is
meet 'em
a
and right
booming
next to the-
career, Father.
Right
Oh
next to
my
the
God.
litter box, just dry.
Oh man. We've got so much news to get through too.
Well, we better make it quick then.
Okay.
You guys should frame it that way. It should be like lightning round news.
So, considering we went so damn long on that last segment, I don't think we have time for a Banished with Laughter or any of the auxiliary bits that we have going on. Well-
The fans are outraged.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have
I thought
talked
that
so
was
much.
the news segment.
You did.
Oh.
Oof. No, which means that it is time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, Gary's favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment, really. When we take a deep breath, have a quick moment of clarity, and we awake to the present moment.
I could have gone to law school.
Shit! And we stuff those regrets deep, deep, deep down where we will never acknowledge them ever again. And we cover it up by going, what's in the news?
Wow, a truncated version this time. We are pressed for time.
We don't have the time. Okay, we simply do not have the time.
It's 5:40.
We are gonna.
God damn it! I'm sorry. That was
That's
silly.
a joke for me.
That
We are
works
gonna-
for me too, but not. That was bad.
We are gonna blitz through this. Okay, first, and literally scrolling through the surplus of headlines. Haiti's prime minister says he'll resign once a transitional council is created.
Oh, I put an addendum in that. We said that was going to happen. And then the political parties were all like, no, this is a terrible idea. And it fell apart really quickly. Things are still not good in Haiti. Also, U.S. YouTuber Your Fellow Arab kidnapped in Haiti while trying to interview gang leader.
Oh no!
Who could have foreseen this? So as of 2 days ago, he still hasn't stepped down, and the transitional council hasn't actually finished creating itself. So,
yeah, because no one wants to be a part of it. Because they're like, hell no, this is exactly what always happens. The U.S. says, hey, you guys need to calm it down, and then shit gets fucked. They're just tired. They're beaten down, and they don't give a fuck anymore. They haven't had a good fucking leader in goddamn 2 decades at least.
Well, who has?
The Swiss?
No, they joined NATO.
Oh no, they're part of the tornado. They're pro-NATO now.
That's
they're pronated.
Oh shit!
No,
Not
it's
Switzerland. It was
yeah.
Sweden. I'm an asshole. Dumb
Hey!
American.
Yeah,
Dumb American. Stupid American.
Stupid.
Actually, no.
America.
I don't know if it was Switzerland. I'm pretty sure it was. Oh wait, no, you're right.
All
SW confused me.
All S countries sound the same to you, huh, American?
Yeah.
Listen here, Saudi Arabia.
Hey, that's rather dubious. Like dubious. Got him.
Gary, I'm gonna need you to sit down.
I am.
All right. John Barnett, Boeing whistleblower who raised alarm over plane quality, is found dead.
It's not enough that they killed people because of the planes.
They got to kill people that said something about them killing people on the planes. We're laughing about it, ha ha. Oh, whistleblower found dead, but it's like these people will kill you and don't even give a shit.
Yeah,
and
and
it's
no
like,
one
yeah,
gives a shit about it.
Consequences.
Yeah, we did it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gonna be mad?
We're
We're Boeing.
What are you gonna do?
Well, and Gary was telling me about this. I was unaware of this. Gary, you said that there is a paper trail of death, as you called it.
Well, but like kind of. It just based off of a little bit of research and stuff I've been looking at, there's quite a lot of problems with that company.
Give us the highlights.
In the audit findings right before this, the whistleblower said there's a lot of violations and shit like that. But that's not an internal audit also occurred and lots of shit got reported. It was really not good. Use of meth from the employees, and there was a love triangle where their murder or the death of one of the people involved was Boeing's thing. It's they just really fucked up shit has happened with them. And also they make a lot of, this is not I don't know. This gets into another thing, so maybe we cut this part, but they're they do military shit too. So
Wait. So you're saying that a large aviation industrial corporation is in the bed with the U.S. government for military applications, and they have a lot of unscrupulous behavior, including but not limited to the murder of people who go against them?
Yeah, I know it's hard to believe. Man. Yeah, that is pretty
when you
crazy.
say it like that.
You know what's crazier though?
Wait. So what you're saying is that possibly that the U.S. government itself might have a vested interest in removing, let's call them obstacles, to their contractors.
Obstacles, yeah, with a P, absolutely.
So, Gary, wait, Gary, you're trying to tell me the largest military in the world and one of the wealthiest countries on the planet.
This is supposed to be a brisk episode.
You're saying that they kill people that disagree with them or signal things that they know that are wrong that they're doing, right?
Yeah, we're making molasses.
Unbelievable.
Out of it,
You're making that up. That's fake.
Yeah.
Fake news.
America has no corruption.
There is no corruption in boxing, say.
Sam Bankman Fried. Y'all remember him, right?
He was that dude that invented Bitcoin, right?
No. But
yes,
right. But no. Sam Bankman Fried. He was the FTX crypto exchange guy. They defrauded their customers out of money that is so astronomically large that it would make my head spin trying to conceptualize it.
But bagillions?
Maybe even bagillions. Anyway, Sam Bankman-Fried finally got sentenced for his hand in all of this, and he got 25 years. Sucks to suck, but this is what happens when you take money from the capitalist.
Should have played a better game.
Should have been ripping off little old ladies and stuff. You know how long it took Bernie Madoff to go to jail? They're going to put him under the fucking prison, dude.
Why you got to amass that much money? Just grift a little.
I mean, he is lucky though, because you guys do remember that he was in a prison in Barbados or something like that.
Oh, right, yeah, in between.
And he was getting chewed on by rats and shit.
Yeah, he's had a life, but you know what? That's that must be his, his whole purpose. Huh?
Yeah, that's his true will, is to
That's
go to
his true
jail
will.
and get bit by the rats.
He
His
was
true will was to
chewed
steal
on
a
by
lot of-
rats. That was my only, because that's when we talked about it initially. That was my only thing. Ooh, the poor billionaire got chewed on by rats.
Oh no! Well, he's not a billionaire anymore, I would assume. I wonder if
He's got to repay.
He probably
11
still
billion.
is.
11 billion.
Nobody pays those back.
Yeah, there's no way.
No.
That
you
never
wouldn't-
happens.
If you
It's
had
like,
that
oh,
much money, you wouldn't be in jail.
we talk about this. When you fuck with people's money, that's the only time your actions have any consequences.
Yep, capitalist, do thy thing.
Do we want to talk about the TikTok ban?
Oh, is that happening? Is that actually going through?
Senate hasn't voted on it yet as of this recording.
That's
But the bottom line, well, here's the thing, right? All it actually is that they want to force ByteDance, however you say it, to sell it, because this is just a maneuver to try to shift it into the hands of people that they like. That's really all this is.
I mean, there's literally like $124 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Of stock.
There's idiotic mouth breathers in the House that have been taken in by this idea of like, this is a national security problem or something like
we gotta
that.
Stop China.
China,
Except
scary,
Trump,
scary, scary.
Trump is now against
We're not
it.
going to start. We're not going to derail this and talk about Trump. I don't give a shit. No. But the bottom line here is that it's like every fucking social media service collects these massive amounts on data on people that use it. And it can be used for all sorts of nefarious purposes. But TikTok is the single problem. No, it's because TikTok makes a whole bunch of fucking money.
But China might
it's
take the data.
TikTok. If
But
they
China
figure, if
might-
they
might-
could
but
figure
China
out,
might like-
if they could figure out a justification
But
to
China might-
wrestle Meta away from Mark Zuckerberg's hands into somebody they like, they would do it. All right, that's all this is. And also, it is an attempt by the federal government to get their fingers into controlling more and more of the internet, because that's what they want. They want to be able to use this. And you know what? You going to tell me that TikTok's incredibly outspoken critiques of everything from the U.S. government to particularly the genocide going on over in Palestine right now has nothing to do with why TikTok is suddenly a big issue?
I just want to say that I'm very concerned about the Chinese government finding out that I like dog videos.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going, this is a huge problem for our national security. If they figure out that I really like these videos where people are dipping apples into like melted candy sugar. It's like, it's a candy apple making video.
Oh my God, you're telling me that this fucker likes Reddit videos? Shit.
Yeah, this is bullshit. If you think that this is an actual national security problem, you're a fucking mouth-breathing idiot, and I will knock your head off.
I mean, it is, but only in the way that like all social media is. Like, it's not, you really think that, I mean, these fucking organizations get hacked every fucking 5 minutes, and every other day you're getting an email saying your data might have been part of a breach, and they got your password, and guess what? Some Nigerian scammer sold your identity for $20 on the black market. But like, this shit happens all the time, but like now it's like, oh, it's China.
TikTok's the problem.
TikTok is the problem.
There's an interesting thing that has been happening on there, and I'm curious to see the outcome of it in years' time.
Oh yeah,
where propaganda does exist though on TikTok, like not just in like
it exists everywhere.
Yeah,
What?
but like it is a subjectively like aggressive thing because the algorithm pushes it in front of you. Have you ever been on there and just watching like your regular feed because you're supposed to be getting recommended like things, and then all of a
the
sudden
algorithm shows you what will keep you clicking.
I guess I love
That's what
seeing
they're
really
for.
really interesting looks of other countries.
I don't have it personally, but I know people that I work with come up to me and say things to me, and they're like, "Hey, did you hear that this is happening?" And I'm like, "Where did you hear that?" "Oh, it was on TikTok." And I'm like, "That's not even close to true."
My beloved showed me a thing of, and this can go into a quick news story afterwards, of P. Diddy being arrested.
Oh.
But it was like mugshot photos and stuff. And she's like, what is wrong with this dude's head? I don't think that's actually him. And I'm like, I think that's AI, baby. I don't think those are real photos.
Oh, God.
And don't get me wrong, they're good. Like they look very, but looking at it, it's like just
Cohost
enough
says
is
that-
tweaked.
Cohost says this, and he's just like literally like looking at a picture of P. Diddy.
He's
Diddy's
just
got a weird
oh,
head.
Diddy's just had a weird head this whole time.
Well, they take photos of him from like an angle, so you can't quite see it. But once you get dead on to him, you're like, oh, that's an egg
No,
shape.
because if P. Diddy had been arrested already, there would be much more headlines. She said, I saw this video that said he got arrested, but I don't. It's like why is he? It's like, and I'm no prize, all right. So don't take this that. But he had like the biggest man titties I had ever seen in my life in this photo, and it's like he doesn't look like that, right? No way, no. And his head's kind of lumpy and like misshapen. But the point is like, baby, I think this is AI, and she's like, yeah, I think you're right. It's like, but it was weird because I was looking at this like, who the fuck? It's like, I thought, because her response was, I think they got like a body double arrested. And I was like, that is a way better story.
P. Diddy AI. I'm looking it up right now.
No, P. Diddy's always had 13 fingers. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't remember the bad boy logo? It's him with 13 other dudes because he got 13 fingers.
Is that why? I thought it was for other reasons.
And now that we've done that, we can pivot into this whole thing is that P. Diddy,
he's had quite a journey the last couple days.
He just got charged with everything.
like a sports announcer. You're like, he's
I don't
been
know,
quite
has he finally been charged? The way I saw the story was it was a bunch of his places got raided like on the 25th of March. And then a couple days later, there was an amended lawsuit put against him that said Combs was paying sex workers and that Cuba Gooding Jr. was also named in it. And
Prince Harry.
Damn, the royal family just be hanging out with the most interesting people.
If you haven't been named in a sex trafficking related lawsuit or charge, are you even part of the royal family?
That's like actually true. Yeah, just about.
Wenceslas, no.
How do we feel about the general feeling of celebrity sex trafficking horrors that just seems to keep coming back?
I don't really like it.
Well, I mean,
I think it sucks. I think it sucks.
What I mean is, how do we feel about it as like a political kind of thing? Because obviously the problem with these sorts of things is they constantly lead from P. Diddy is paying like underage sex workers and doing fucked up shit and like touching.
Nah, dude, he part of like the Wayfair child trafficking. Like they put the kid in
New World Order network of
Hollywood Babylon shit. They put a baby inside of the cabinet, and then you order the cabinet, and when it arrives, the baby is like
it's
almost full grown, and then you have sex with it.
Have you seen that True Detective show? It's that for real. I promise.
Yeah, bro. It's like they use these babies for satanic sacrifices, and it's all Illuminati, and that's why Rihanna and Taylor Swift block their right eye when they're on stage.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Did you see Ice Spice at the Super Bowl, man?
No, I
she
didn't
does
do
this
any
thing
of that.
with her hands where she like points her fingers slightly upward, and that's the horns. That's her showing her coven with the devil. That's what the Super Bowl is about. It's about expressing your commitment to the Dark Lord in a public forum. That's why if you ever buy a Super Bowl ticket, you are selling your soul. If you look on there, it's got in real tiny letters. Has this joke gone on long enough, folks? Do you get it?
What happens if you like win the tickets?
I think if you go through the door, you give up your soul. I think that's the
it's more
rules.
like an entry. Yeah, like you're passing the
like Alex Jones went that one time, but that was like that was an investigation thing. So if you're investigating, you don't lose your soul.
If you go through the gates, which is actually just Joe Rogan's podcast room.
Yeah, it's basically like an eyes wide shut party every night, and you got to know the word.
You don't have a soul anymore. Yeah,
and you gotta when you get to the door, you say studio, and
you say Abra Hadabra, and they let you in.
Yeah, because they're all Aleister Crowleyites.
Hey, Thelema, I know about that.
No, but for real, that's like the conspiracy. That's the problem. It's always like it starts not that it's okay or that it's like it was only like 10 people or something like that, but it's always like an actual crime, and then that turns into like they were using children to harvest adrenochrome.
Right.
It always turns into some Hollywood Babylon shit where it's like, they're all doing like black magic and sacrificing people and shit like that.
Well, it's this
rather than what the actual problem is. And the problem,
it's never the idea that people with ludicrous amounts of money for doing shit like singing songs and selling liquor won't do horrible shit with it. It's always got to be like, no, it's because they put on a skirt in that music video, and that's a sign that they're a part of the Skull and Bones crew. Why do we need excuses for like the devil and shit like that? Like, we see people doing terrible shit when they have money all the time. Look at Henry Ford.
Oh yeah. That dude was long in the tooth during the war. Like
he was a terrible human being.
He was very upfront about how fucking supportive he was.
And what happened to him? Nothing.
Well,
Georgina Rose loses her book, but Henry Ford gets a car. It's funny. It's sad. I hope
the
Diddy
dreams in
gets-
which I'm dying, the best I ever had.
What is that? Oh, that's Mad World. Okay. I'm sorry. It took me a minute.
Oh, speaking of Hollywood,
God damn it.
Babylon, and weird diddlers, I think we were all like, I think most of us were aware of the Dan Schneider stuff already.
Oh,
right? Weren't we?
in like a subtext, yeah. And
Oh, actually, I remembered the point I was going to make. Whenever it comes to stuff like this, it's like you can always look back and be like, oh, nah, this weird fucked up shit that these celebrities were doing, you know, that Diddy was doing, that R. Kelly was doing. It's like Harvey Weinstein, Dan Schneider. It's like people have been saying shit like this for fucking years and saying, yeah, he doing some real sketchy fucking shit. Someone should really look into them. And then like Dan Schneider thing, because I knew about this for years now. Because motherfuckers on YouTube, at the very minimum,
it's been
motherfuckers
exposed
on
in, like,
YouTube were
internet
talking
stuff,
about
yeah.
this. And then it's like one documentary comes out and everyone's like, oh, I had no idea. And I'm like, you didn't?
Well,
I thought
the
it's
one
literally
subtext to that though is this documentary was included with like Drake Bell and like people that were involved. You know what I mean?
The difference is this is the what's it called? Leaving Neverland, the Michael Jackson thing. This is the equivalent of that about Dan
This
Schneider.
is a sold version of what people already
It's
know.
just that for me, it was a moment of like, we didn't already know. I thought we were all here already.
It was the worst kept secret kind of shit. Yeah. Well, that's like Tarantino.
Dark matter probably isn't real.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. I love
What?
that. That makes me so fucking happy.
Basically, the
I'm
universe
so
is
fucking happy. Guys, I'm sorry, I have to derail this one. But I was yelling at people in fucking website forums talking about Thomas Kuhn and Heidegger and why the scientific understanding of the universe has issues and how we don't actually have a proper representation of the world. We have competing models and theories, and I got called an anti-science, anti-vaxxer. They said that. They told me that shit. And
That's awesome.
What did I say? What did I say that got them so riled up? I said that dark matter probably wasn't real, and I said I've never seen a graviton. And they said that I was an anti-science, anti-intellectualist, anti-vaxxer.
Oh.
Fuck you. All right, I'm sorry. You can read the rest of the headline.
He's really mad because he's got the jab, so he doesn't know how to act anymore.
Man, you're like full of antimatter right now. You need to chill out a little bit.
There is now being a proposed model of the universe. It basically makes the universe like twice as old as we thought it was. So now it's like from 13 billion to 20 something billion.
That's not the right number either.
Probably not. But whatever. I'm
hang on. I'm looking in the Veda. I'll tell you what it is. Give me a minute.
We need the deep lore. No. But basically, the universe is like twice as old as we thought it was. There's probably not dark matter. By saying the universe is twice as old as we thought it was, and the rate of expansion happens a little differently than we thought, sort of thing, undoes the need for that missing matter conundrum. So
I can't believe that everyone's shocked that we made something up and
we said it wasn't there.
Yeah,
we said, oh well, it's like, okay, this is missing, so let's just assume that this thing exists, and then it doesn't exist. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind.
Well, the science community, like, all about hypothesis and changing shit all the time. It's literally just a
my
constant
doctor
test,
gave me some cream for a hypothesis, cleared it right up.
They say they are.
But they're not really about that, okay?
I mean, they're not.
No, they absolutely are. What are you talking about?
I'm really not gonna make like huge generalizations about the scientific community.
I will.
You know, there's just, especially with like, let's call it like large. I'm saying, like, let's call it like large scale.
Stupid.
Oh, it's really fucking dumb.
You know, when we're talking about like how old is the universe? I'm sure we're doing the best we fucking can,
No,
man.
yeah, you're doing much better than me. I would have.
We
been
can't
like,
cut the galaxy in half and count the rings. I'm sorry. Like
I'd have been like, let me think about it. I'm
awesome,
I'm in my 30s. My father is in his 70s.
So the
my
universe
grandfather would
is-
be like 100, and I'll just keep going back until I run out of people. Like Methuselah was 4,000. It's probably about 5,000.
Ah, God, young Earth creationism is like that's literally what they did.
God damn it.
All right. So that's very interesting, and it goes to show I do enjoy the idea of what was once widely accepted models can get overturned almost in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, no, it's good to see science progressing.
Peter Carroll is probably having a fucking time.
Oh god.
Considering like his pretty much overt disdain for our current understanding, because he thinks the Big Bang is stupid and shit like that. He's like, I'm coming up with a different theory. It's like, so he's like, ha, dark matter, you idiots. I knew it wasn't real. I knew this whole time.
Called it.
The Cthulhu told me.
Calls up fucking what's the dude, the guy that's a scientist. He's really calls up fucking Hank Green.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yes. How did you know? We're on the same wavelength tonight.
Hybrid U.S. sheep breeder used endangered genetic material to
endangered?
Yeah. So
like,
it gets
in genetic material of something that was endangered, or like the genetic material was endangered. Like, hey, I filled this shit up with penicillin and Rogaine, and now I'm gonna put it in a sheep.
Man tried to breed enormous hybrid sheep using genetic material from endangered animals so he could sell them to trophy hunting ranches.
That dude tried to make like a chimera. That's badass.
That is fucking sick.
Arthur Schubaroth, 80 years old, illegally imported parts of the world's largest species of sheep. He was 80 years old trying to make like making clone embryos and stuff. I mean, like,
will be my legacy.
Whatever. When you're that,
remember the name Schomburg,
bro. When you're that old, fuck it. What are they gonna do?
They will confiscate your property and put you in handcuffs. I'm guessing that's probably what happened, right?
He's gonna be dead before the court case finalizes. They're probably not even 100% what exactly he did.
I don't know what we can charge you with, but it was either this or we got the pitchforks.
Yeah, it was either this or we burned everything to the ground. I'm trying to find what he bred them with to create never before seen hype. Man,
this is a great movie.
Never mind, dude.
Synopsis.
I
like this.
Free my man Shoebarth.
Free my homie Shoebarth. He didn't
Free
do
my
shit.
homie Shoebarth. He didn't do sheep.
Gonna go ahead and add that to the pile of shirts we're making.
Dude, I love max penalty of 5 years and a fine up to $250,000.
Oof.
You know
That
what? That's a
sucks.
big fine, but let's pass the hat around and just, help him out.
Yeah.
What did this guy do that was so bad? Like, look, all I'm saying is that you guys don't want to see never before seen hybrids.
Yeah,
You're lying to
you're
yourself.
lying.
You're lying.
Stop fronting. That sounds cool as shit.
Yeah.
Never before seen hybrids. Imagine like a person, but then like they got like wings. Oh my god.
A sheep with wings.
How did it
Great.
take you that
That's all I
fucking
need.
long?
Are you making a Linkin Park hybrid theory reference?
Oh.
No. I was just
that's
saying some
funnier.
shit. But that is funnier. So go ahead and take that part out that I just
So let's
said.
say that I did that on
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. Hold on.
Crawling through my
Hold on.
skin.
One second. We'll go. Yep. That's exactly what it was, Coco. You're so right.
Okay.
These wounds, they do not heal.
All right. I think
That's the
we
problem. The things he made them with wounds that do not heal.
Melting polar ice is slowing Earth's rotation and may affect time. Climate change fucking up clocks, guys. What the what? Like, I don't even know what to say about that. Like,
Climate change was made up by the climate to sell more change. Big climate, sell more change.
in the pocket of big climate. Yep. I always worry with these headlines where we're just talking about like goofy stuff that happened in the news and we don't have like an occult perspective, but often there just isn't one, or not one that's worth talking about.
Well, no, because we do a great job of talking about the occult perspective, but honestly, a lot of times the occult perspective is just like, ooh, aliens.
What if it was an
"Ooh."
alien?
Yeah, what if that was Bigfoot over there? What if Bigfoot did 9/11?
What if Mothman broke the bridge?
We are, Han, save that joke for 2 minutes when we get to the
You
bridge.
got it.
It's like, I'd love to be able to talk about like, oh man, these people operating in plain sight to do all these nefarious things, create. They're creating the.
But they do that and they don't believe us. We're like, check it out. They've created a power structure that's based on the exploitation of your labor. And they're like, that's stupid and made up. But you know what's real? Fucking alien reptiles in the Queen's bloodline. Like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, that shit's bullshit, but have you seen their eyes?
Yeah, but have you, like, it's Hollywood Babylon, man. I mean, you know, Kenneth Anger wrote that one book.
People just are really upset that they can find all this spooky magic shit in their life, and then the big problems are still things that they have to, like, get off their ass and do materially. That's all it ever is. They'd rather have a big spooky explanation for why there are problems with the world than the very obvious ones that make them feel powerless and stupid. That's all it comes down to.
I'm not responsible.
I guess it circles back to what I said. It's like big, kooky, mystical experiences are good, but if they don't make you get off the couch and do something.
Hey, they made David Icke do something. They made him ruin a fucking career.
Was David Icke into Thelema?
No, but Jimmy Savile was apparently.
Oh.
No, don't tell me
Oh.
No, that's not. That's
Oh.
that's something I heard from a crazy person on Reddit.
that. My Pillow founder, Mike Lindell, attorneys bail on him as he fights $5 million Prove Mike Wrong Challenge Award.
I told somebody else
Oh
about
my
this in the
God.
when I saw it in the Discord.
Stop
My first thought was
saying
like,
I'll give you money if you can prove something.
he's like the opposite James Randi.
He's
like
the nega James Randi.
James Randi did all this shit to like be like, well, no, you didn't actually move it with your mind, or you didn't do any psych thing. I'm not giving you this money. He's just like, hey, bet you can't make me give you money.
He's
God
doubling
damn it,
down.
no.
is what he's doing.
Oh, bro, I proved it. Shit! The James Randi thing I always think is interesting because when you bet somebody $1 million that they can't prove something, now you have $1 million worth of incentive to not believe any kind of evidence and do everything you can to be like, that doesn't count. But when a dude's like, hey, you want to prove this thing that is like very obviously true?
What did he try to get you to prove?
He wanted you to. It was an election interference thing. It's like prove that this election wasn't rigged.
And
That
then
is
he
so
went through
dumb.
every
Why would you
system
do
and like
that?
did a full audit. And he was like, yeah, it was fine. No rigging happened.
That is dumb, even if you think the election was actually stolen, right? Like, if you
Yeah.
think the election was stolen,
Why would you gamble money
Why
on a
would-
national level? That's so
why
stupid.
would you think that the conspiracy that could so easily overthrow a free election in this country wouldn't be able to just get people to be like, hey, here's the proof?
Yeah.
Like, think for a second, Mike. Like, if you think these people are that powerful, why are you going to be like, hey, I'll give you money?
So now the courts are gonna. So now his attorneys are like, yeah, bro, you said you'd pay him, so bye.
It's that clip from fucking Scrubs with Ted just going,
Oh, come on! A good lawyer couldn't win this case.
So I got one more because it feels like it has spooky potential. Harvard University removes human skin binding from book.
Huh.
And shout outs to Local because like three or four of these headlines have been from him. So he's really doing the most right
Local's
now.
the best.
Harvard University has removed the binding of human skin from a 19th century book kept in his library. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, like,
You going to bury it or
Why?
gonna
He's
burn
gonna
it?
deep fry it.
Like
He's gonna make human chicharrones.
on this episode, we're going to deep
chicharrones.
fry a human skin. Destinies de l'âme, Destinies of the Soul, has been housed at the Houghton Library since the 1930s. In 2014, scientists determined that the material it was bound with was, in fact, human skin.
That's rad.
wait, so you couldn't actually tell?
It wasn't like all hairy and had like an
You
eyeball
couldn't
on
just
it.
be like, you
I
didn't see
have
someone's
bad
mom
news.
tattoo on it with the heart?
I have really bad news for you, man. Most skin just kind of looks like skin.
Yeah, it does. Bigots.
How about all skin? Huh? Hmm.
All skin matters.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
now, you're an all skin. Get your game on.
Get
Some
shaved.
get
dude.
shaved.
'Cause it's skin.
Our sponsor for this episode.
No, I have to bleep that out now, Coco. You get a lot of trouble for promoting people that you don't actually or you aren't actually being promoted by.
So, my
'Cause if
big
that was the
question.
case, we would literally say every episode, everyone go check out for the big forehead deal. I have to bleep out that too. I have to bleep all of this out.
So, here's my question. 2014, they were like, yep, that is in fact a human skin.
Wait a minute. They sat there for 10 years?
10 years, dude. What do you mean
That's
10
wild.
years? And they were like,
I wonder if it was like heavily lacquered or something, or full of rosin.
Yeah,
like
but
they couldn't
here's the other thing.
see
Like,
it.
when was this book written?
A little while ago.
19th century.
Yeah, so this book's from like the 1800s. So
I
like,
thought you were going to say
yeah, so, like,
1970s,
1995,
and I
right?
was
Yeah.
still going to be like,
no, but I'm just saying, like, why are you gonna remove it?
Oh yeah,
Who
it's
are
like
you
there's no
helping
like
by taking the
implication
skin
to
off?
it, right?
Yeah,
like, is it somebody's
like if it was
dad?
like possibly a crime, and it was like, oh, okay, like this is from this like murder that happened back in like 1963.
Hey,
Okay,
wouldn't you know
maybe
it?
take
This
it
is-
off.
It's one of Dahmer's books.
Hey, get a load of this, kid. It's JD's little novel.
Okay, and I am going to probably be mispronouncing this all sorts of ways.
Yeah, what
But,
kind of book is it?
Des Destinies de l'Âme, but we know it's Destinies of the Soul,
Okay.
is a meditation on the soul and life after death written by Arsene Hosai or Hosai. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm awful
Arsenio
American.
Hall.
Arsenio Hall.
He wrote
Late
this?
night? But it was written in the mid 1880s, and it is said that he gave it to a friend, a Dr. Ludwig Boland, who was a doctor.
A doctor, you say?
Reportedly found the book in the skin from a body of an unclaimed female patient who had died of natural causes.
See, this isn't that weird to me because
No, this sounds like the 1880s.
Yeah.
yeah, this is just literally doctors at the time. Like you could like kill somebody or like find a body on the street and go sell it to a doctor for
Well,
Check it out, right? In 1848, like less than 40 years before this, right? They still had kings.
oh yeah,
And I mean,
yeah.
and they still do it, but I mean, like,
we
they
have
had still
kings
had-
now. What
well,
are you
but-
talking about?
I'm talking about like they
We only
still
have
have
one
like
true
the
king, so-
divine rule of kings for most of these places. So this is like, this doesn't shock me at all. This is still like prime alchemist time.
I mean, the other thing too is it's like, yeah, it's bound in human skin. I mean, bound in human skin, inked in human blood is like, that's the Necronomicon Deus Mortis.
So we're halfway there.
Like there is something very creepy and unsettling about that idea, but
No, it's also very
In-
like Tibetan Buddhist
Yeah,
veneration of the
blood?
dead sort of way, right?
is the ink
It's
in
made
the
of
grand
blood?
scheme of things, right? This wasn't like a murder victim. This wasn't a horrible circumstance. This wasn't even like a grave robber. It was somebody died, the body was there, and they were like, well, this is a meditation on the soul, possibly in that sort of Tibetan veneration sort of way of the idea of like, well, what better way to bind up this dissertation on the nature of the human spirit and life after death than by putting it in the preserved flesh of a human.
Yeah, well, think about it. It's a meditation on the inner world bound in what is the outer world.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
very poetic in
Yeah.
a way.
It's
That's kind of cool.
It's
But-
kind of morbid to certain people, I'm sure.
Well, again, to the same folks that get freaked out about like oh, hey, check it out. This is our ancient, this is how we venerate the ancient monk who founded this temple. Oh, really? How do you do that? Well, we turned his head into a cup.
Hey, who's that guy that's just hanging out in that box with the sunglasses? Oh, no. He been dead. Those glasses are so you don't see that his eyes are missing now.
He's wearing those sunglasses because there's maggots everywhere, and you just
He's
don't wanna
freed
see
himself
that.
of all attachments except for those Ray-Bans. That's really for your that's really an expression of bodhicitta.
Gee.
It's universal compassion for you so you don't see the grodiness.
Clear light, mind so bright, I gotta wear shades.
Damn. Is this what like when you reach nirvana? Is this what it is? You get a
No,
cool
when you're
pair of
about to
Ray-Bans?
reach nirvana, you start figuring out a bunch of goofy jokes to make, and it drops you right back.
Just when you think you've had it, you go penis.
Yeah, I was gonna read. I was about to really reach objective knowledge and truth about the universe, and then I succeed. I get it.
Succeed, baby. What? Oh. That's
Straight
me
to Naraka.
falling.
Bad rebirth.
Terrible rebirth.
Child in India.
Ooh.
Next dollar.
Zero.
Imprisoned
Not
by China.
Oh,
What'd you say?
sorry, I
Coco, what was
I
that?
said 0 out of 10. Would not recommend.
What, my reincarnation?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good
Oh
time.
boy. Reincarnation, bad idea. Never again. Never again.
Like you got off a bad flight. You're like, ugh, oh boy, I would not be on that that reincarnation.
That's what Siddhartha said.
He said,
like, I'm not.
Honestly, last one kind of sucked.
Gonna be honest, man. Pretty mid. Join us next video. I'm gonna see what salvation in the eternal kingdom of God is like, folks. Hit that subscribe.
Look, okay.
Comment.
Make sure
also,
to smash that like button.
Also, I'm doing a Fortnite stream later tonight if you want to check it out.
Okay, the library basically said.
We're still talking about the book?
Yes, we are. The library said basically, realizing that this is human remains, we think legally we don't actually own this.
No, you don't own the outside now.
Yeah.
You own the inside, though.
No.
And do you think anyone's going to come take it and be like, sorry, this is mine now?
It will be given a respectful disposition.
So they're going to throw it away.
They're laying it off is what they're doing.
They're giving it severance.
They're like, this is a fucking mouth on our payroll. He gets free electricity.
Oh, boy.
Oh, the whole
Central
skin book community is going to have a fit with this one if we don't hire him.
That seeks to restore the dignity to the woman whose skin was used. We don't know the woman's name. We don't know where she came from.
She was a horrible human being.
Yeah, she might have been a bitch.
Yeah.
She might have been a horrible
Things that
cunt.
men always say when anything
What if she
bad
was a
happens to
bitch?
a woman.
Oh, no. No. Oh.
I do like. I swear I thought you were going to say cunt first. But then you kind of held back, and I thought, oh no, he's not going to say it. That's interesting. And then but it was just to like reiterate.
A book about the human soul deserved a human covering, which is from the words of Dr. Baldwin.
That's a good fucking saying. I don't fucking hate that at all.
So Harvard's cursed now.
Yeah, oh, you're definitely, I don't know much about like, the encasement of spirits into objects, but I can tell you this much. If you rip someone's skin off their body and then put it on something else and then rip it off again, they're not going to be happy.
I want to read this book now. In fact, I will actually say this because I've gone on the record saying, I really don't give a shit what happens to my body once I'm dead.
Yeah, that same.
Guys, just give some of my skin to Harvard so they can put a cover back on this book.
Yeah, it's got to be cold.
Yeah, it's cold. If you're cold, it's cold. Covered in your flesh.
Got bodies. It's like got milk.
All right.
All right.
And now we will round it out by talking about Joe Biden's infrastructure plan.
That's not the news.
See, Joey Biden was
little
he was having
Jonathan.
a little Joey Biden was having a boat ride, and he was like, toot toot, it's like steam. I'm like that Steamboat Willie that is,
We can
free
say
of
that
copyright now. Yeah, I'm Steamboat.
Does he remember that?
He was there.
He was
when they
there.
drew
He's
it.
going like, no. Joe Biden's going like, that Steamboat Willie that came out at the theater last week.
He said toot. He said toot toot, and then he had a little oopsie daisy.
And then his assistant comes up and says, "Sir, you're on mic. You gotta go. You gotta."
And then he had a little oopsies and smacked a cargo ship right in the middle of a bridge.
Okay, all right. In all honesty, why are we blaming Joe for this other than it's funny?
The Republicans did it.
Oh.
I thought that was the thing.
Other side of the coin. Here we go.
I really do love that. I mean, sorry, when that happened, I just I wanted to make that joke where this is Joe Biden's infrastructure plan. Just tear down the bridges and then it makes jobs to build them back up.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this bridge.
Again, because he thinks it's still Gorbachev.
He thinks he's still there.
That's why he's so mad about Putin. He's like, I don't know who this guy is.
Who
when
is
am I
this
gonna
guy?
get to talk to Gorbachev?
Putin. Well, why don't you put in Gorbachev and have him talk to me for a minute? There, I got there.
Got
it. Got there. That was a great joke. 10 out of 10. I will not be taking any notes at this time.
No questions, please.
No, but all in all, it's really one of those things where it could have been so much fucking worse. Like, it's not good. It's horrible. Whole bridge into water, go down. Shark in the water.
Our shark?
Our shark. Yeah, absolutely. Dead eyes, like a doll's eyes. There was enough of a call ahead, like as far as the Mayday, like, oh fuck. Because for people who don't know, boats are like trains in that, like, you can't just stop them. So sadly, these people knew they knew exactly they were going into this bridge well before they hit that bridge. They knew there was nothing they could do. This is my understanding. If I'm wrong, please somebody correct me so I don't look like an idiot through the entire episode, just most of it. My understanding is that they got this Mayday call out and they were able to clear the bridge, mostly besides the exception of, I believe, 6 or 7 people that were like a road crew that were repairing parts of like the actual like asphalt going over the bridge. And sadly, I don't think they found any of them. The search, well, the search was, it could have been a bridge full of cars, could have been a bridge full of people, like, you know, just packed. I mean, I understand it was in the wee hours of the morning, but outside of a major city, it's not unheard of a lot of people on a bridge somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, and 6 people did lose their life to this.
Like I said, but it was 6. It could have been a lot worse. Which I know that's cold comfort for anybody who lost someone on that bridge, and I'm, you know, it is tragic, but looking at how bad it possibly could have been, you know, stuff can be rebuilt. At the same time, it's been wild watching people line up to tell you why the hell they think this bridge collapsed. And somehow it's everything from like it's Joe Biden's fault to it's terrorists and Russia and China and China together. And it's also because the border's open. And then like it's because of pronouns. I don't know how pronouns destroyed the bridge, but like, I wish I was joking. This is shit that it's like, literally everyone is blaming everything in this bridge other than the basic problems of like, maybe we should have some slightly tighter regulations or, you know, maintain these machines a little bit better. Or the more chilling answer of like, horrible shit happens every once in a while.
An accident.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you can do
know?
everything you can do everything right and then bad things can still happen.
The ship company that like made the ship that crashed is actually kind of known for their ships having massive failures. Like it's kind of a problem. And it's
so they're like
unfortunately
Oh, so they're
yeah,
so
pretty
Boeing.
much.
It was a Boeing ship, but
Yeah,
that goes back to
Boeing freighter.
that goes back to my initial statement of, oh God, co-host, how'd you shoot yourself? You shot yourself in the back 5 times.
Oh my God, what are you
before
doing
you
with that
jumped
gun in
out
your
this
hand?
window? Man, that's crazy. No, but no, this goes back to what I said about it's like the idea of when you deregulate a lot of businesses and you don't hold people accountable when things like this happen. It's you know, yeah, this is what you're gonna get.
So what it was is that it was a power failure that caused this, and it might have. Some people are blaming it might have been contaminated fuel.
No. It was pronouns in China. It was Chinese pronouns.
Oh, of course.
And it's Joe Biden's fault.
Right.
Stone Toss told me that.
You mean Hans Christian?
Yeah, we need to open.
Whatever his name
it was
is?
something about open borders and needing immigrants, and then the bridge collapsed.
And circumcisions as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what his comic told me, at least. I don't know.
Right. And now I'm gonna go commit a federal crime.
Jeez.
All I'm saying is, Chris Chan starts posting again. Bridge collapses. Coincidence?
No, I don't think it is.
I
think it's systematically.
Coco, this is the most sense you have made in the last 5 minutes.
You've blown this whole fucking thing up, dude.
Oh boy.
Did I just get
more
pilled?
news?
Got Sonichu pill.
Anyone got anything else? Any Chris Chan news? Did Chris do anything terrible yet?
No, Chris Chan has gotten so incredibly boring. Did anybody see Mothman on the bridge? Like, has that popped up yet? Like, normally horrible bridge tragedies, Mothman seems to show up, or at least people saying they saw Mothman, like as like the herald of doom and destruction, that he tends to show up.
John Keel was walking across that bridge like 5 minutes before all this happened, so
he was out there. He was literally standing there with a typewriter, and then hold on. Kennedy is actually looking to see if there's any Mothman reports. I think, which is
I haven't seen one.
Damn, I am shook. I'm shooketh.
I'm actually surprised because that's Maryland.
I'm gonna go ahead and write down.
Shit, you're right.
Mothman.
You're right. It's right there too. You know, it's like it's just.
Well, the problem is there is actually that other well-known bridge collapse with Mothman. So
that's why I'm saying.
Right, but when you search for it, you get all of that shit, and you can't find Baltimore Bridge.
What if you just searched Mothman?
Hang on, we found one.
Just search
There we go.
Mothman Francis Scott Key Bridge. Was Mothman there or not?
I'm so sorry.
No.
Damn it.
Next question.
The website was mothmanthere.com.
We're gonna make a shirt that says Mothman collapsed the Baltimore Bridge.
And he's my biological father.
And he's my dad.
It's a little too close. Like I don't know. And
You're right.
We'll talk about it.
We'll give it a month. We'll give it a month.
By episode 40, we'll have the Mothman shirt out.
And
if you want to get it sooner, you can give us the $5 of Minnesota voodoo bucks, and we'll send.
I thought you were gonna say you're gonna have Mothman as a guest.
No, episode 50 is Mothman special though. Then we'll have Mothman on.
Just be like, y'all got any lamps?
Oh, you don't? That's cool. That's cool.
I mean, my rider just said lamps. It was like kind of the only thing.
I requested.
It was just a single sticky note written in human blood that said lamp in all caps. But that's fine. I guess I'll just do the rest of the show.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
No, I don't need any coffee.
Now I'm disappointed. Like I feel like I let hypothetical Mothman down.
It's fine. Mothman's a fucking prima donna anywhere.
He's impossible to work with, I've heard, hypothetically.
The Danzig of cryptids.
Have you ever heard of Cake? He's kind of like Cake.
Like the band?
The band?
Or the,
Yeah.
No, like a delicious treat.
The joke being Cake is also heard to be not easy to work with.
Again, like the band cake or like the food? Are you talking about, because I've heard people say that as well, like on like baking shows, they're like, cake is very hard to work with.
Oh.
I heard
So
it's
which
a
is
piece
it?
of cake to bake a pretty cake. But you
One
can't be
that's-
lazy.
One that's super tasty, I think is what the next line is.
Stop. We're going on. Next
Fuck.
segment. We're
My
done.
brain just like had an aneurysm.
I live in a apartment. So there's a little storage closet on the porch that has never ever been locked ever because there's nothing in there that's worth stealing. Dog just got spayed like two weeks ago now. It had this mattress in that wasn't doing anything. I brought it in there because rather than her climbing up on the couches, it gave her something low that she could get on, and then she could lay there while she was healing up. And then it was like, okay, it's about time. I need to just put this thing back up. And then I go, and it's like, all right, this shit's locked. It's never been locked before. I don't know if I have a key for this. Don't know if there's a key. Don't know if a key even exists for this. And then I'm about to pop it open with a screwdriver, and then my beloved gets involved, and she's like, I just called them. And I'm like, why would you call anybody about this? I don't want these people around here. I hate, it's like, I don't know about you guys,
But I hate people.
I don't like living in apartments, living in any kind of rental property. I just want to keep the landlords and the handyman away from me as much as physically possible. I will change the light bulbs myself. It's fine. I will pay for things just to keep you from snooping around and, saying, why do you have so many skulls on that table over there? So I'm about to pop it open with a screwdriver. And then she's like, I called him. Like, fuck, now I got to sit here and wait. And this motherfucker shows up. He's like, hold on, let me try my key. Oh, that didn't work. And then he pops it open with a screwdriver. And I'm just, I'm so fucking mad about it. I'm like, I could have done.
Oh,
God damn it.
Damn.
It's just like,
that's
done
the
goofed.
worst.
All right, so as we said, this is a bit of a Thelema-centric episode. So we talked about our personal feelings about Thelema.
it stinks.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about the other side of Thelema.
We're talking about the whore park rot to the raw whore wheat.
Yeah, that's a way of putting it.
Okay.
So Thelema, right? What do you guys, if you had a group that was all about hyper individualism and self-actualization and occult knowledge, what would you think that the people involved in that group's biggest interest would be?
Radical self-individuation.
Right.
Getting money out of stupid people.
Also right.
Garrett, what's your guess?
It would have to be around like free will and stuff. Right?
No, not so much that actually.
Oh.
That's the fun part, right?
Okay.
So Thelemites are a wonderful gang of people, and they really love getting into organizations and talking about their ideas and doing all sorts of stuff until they don't like each other anymore. Then they're all about backstabbing, backbiting, and calling each other as many names as humanly possible.
Like stupid head,
like criminal.
Oh,
like boo boo,
fake.
You stinky winky,
a meanie butt, and perhaps a duty head.
Ooh, that's too far.
Yeah, we gotta bleep that one,
back.
guys.
Yeah, that's just.
Oh
That's
my
just
God,
offensive.
please. Oh God, please bleep that one. That'll be way funnier. Since Aleister Crowley departed this earth, and even before that, really, Thelema has had a history of backstabbing and shit talking and just absolute drama. Because I guess people are people. I think it's probably really easy to be like, oh, occult groups just attract like the worst human beings in the world. And it's not true.
No, there's just a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah, occult groups will get better when people get better, you know? And how do people get better?
All things.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. But there are some funny exchanges. There's some slap fights that go on between the California OTO and this new breakout thing called Scientology. That's not even getting into when Thelemites are fighting other Thelemites.
They don't get along like Thelemites and chaos magicians, or Thelemites and Scientologists, or Thelemites and other
Thelemites and other Thelemites. Damn Thelemites. They ruined Thelema.
So what I thought it would be a fun thing to do would be to go through, a handful, not all, but a handful of fun little events, breakups, and spats between Thelemites. Some of them are familiar. Some of them maybe not. I think we'll have a fun time running through this abridged history of occult fighting and infighting. And I can think of no better place to start with that than when Aleister Crowley was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
What's that?
Is this the kick down the stairs?
Yeah, well, we'll go there in a bit. The best way to describe this is that the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, as popularized through insistently reminding everyone how to do the LBRP, was a occult order in England that lasted from essentially the late 1800s into the early 1900s. So not that long. Not an ancient order.
They come back. They go to the Rosicrucians, man.
Well, that's what they all say.
What?
I'm sorry you had to find out like this. Anyway, there are essentially two lodges that
But what about the Knights Templar?
The long story there is essentially the battle between a man named Samuel Little McGregor Mathers, British Freemason, and one of the three founders of the Golden Dawn, and the London Golden Dawn, which had become the home of people like William Butler Yeats, A.E. Waite, Florence Farr, all the great other people that you know that are a part of this order. Essentially, most of them were very mad at Mathers for having a certain young, weird punk named Aleister Crowley be a part of this order. They didn't like that. They didn't like that Mathers was basically telling them all what to do. They eventually told Aleister Crowley, you know what? We're sick of your shit. You're not going to make Adeptus Minor, which is just one of the fucking grades. Mathers said, fuck that, initiated him anyway, and then that turned into a big fight where Crowley was like, all right, I got the initiation so I can get my grade papers.
Like, we're not going to give them to you.
People got real mad. There was all sorts of arguments, and you can read all about the wacky happenings that come from that, including, but not limited to, Aleister Crowley possibly being kicked down some stairs after shouting out some magic spells at people.
Not just Aleister Crowley, but basically the two rival camps fighting over control of the Golden Dawn headquarters by basically just showing up and changing the locks. Not just once. Like I said, if I'm remembering correctly, Crowley does it once, and then like they kick him out and then do the same thing. So like they're literally just like change, like, all right, you don't have a key to get in. And then I call a guy and he just pops it open with a screwdriver, and it's like, ah, shit.
Damn, the setup for that was worth it.
So terrible. But hey, here's the thing.
Awesome.
The Golden Dawn basically dissolves as an order in 1903. Our young Crowley is off to do bigger and better things.
You know what's funny about what happens in 1904?
Hold on, I know this actually. The
Hindenburg. That was right.
Yeah.
No,
Thank
yes.
you. Go ahead and take that part
I
where I
don't
said the
think
playground.
either of those are right.
No, they're definitely not.
And I'm going to say Hindenburg. There we
Lieber
go.
Hindenburg is
Guessing the
published.
thing that you know is wrong. I love committing to the bit. You're a treasure. But 1904, Crowley gets the Book of the Law. The whole thing goes off. One of the things that Crowley decides to do with himself is create what we now know as the AA. And what is the AA, you say?
What is the AA?
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, no, wait, I know this. It's Argentinium Astrum, right? That's what it means? It means Argentinian star.
Yes, that's exactly what it means.
It's about like it's a thing about soccer, really.
It's Astron Argon, it's
obviously-
Argentium Astrum, it's Erica Anpin, apparently. Arcananum Arcanorum.
It's Eric Estrada. No,
It-
shit.
Arkham Asylum.
Ah, there you go. That
Atlantean Adepts. Yes, take your pick. Everyone has their own idea of what AA stands for. I mean, it's definitely one of those.
what if it's a ghost?
What does AA mean to you?
It's all about whatever it means to you in your heart.
Apples and orange apples. Hmm?
Apples and also apples.
That's what I was gonna say.
In 1907, Crowley founds the AA with a Mr. George Cecil Jones. Who's that, you ask?
George Cecil Jones. You
He was
just said
another
his
guy
name.
who was in the Golden Dawn. He was just one of the guys that happened to think that Crowley was pretty fucking cool. So
He helped him change the locks. He's like, listen here, Al, you can borrow my screwdriver. It's fine.
obviously, this other guy is not the big draw on this. I'm sure George Cecil Jones has contributions to Thelema that many people would say are irreplaceable. But for the most part, he's just the other guy that's there. And we get our first falling out with these two because in 1911, he is suing a newspaper for associating him with Crowley for libel. So that just like that, we're already having our first.
Just for being like, please keep my name away from this guy.
George Cecil Jones is already on the outs here. We have lots of other people to choose from. Very quickly, we end up with another man named J.F.C. Fuller. J.F.C. Fuller is a fascinating figure. He was a British military officer. He was a historian and a strategist, and he's also written several works on occultism. He wrote an essay called "The Star in the West," an overview of Crowley's poetic work. He became an enthusiastic supporter of the AA. He joined. He did all sorts of stuff. There's lots of paintings that he did.
His artwork is incredible.
After a while, though, Fuller starts to realize that
Crowley's kind of a shit.
Well,
No way.
He starts to realize that during the Jones lawsuit, made a big deal about the fact that Crowley was a bisexual. Fuller starts to get a little worried about his, prestige being affected by being associated with Aleister Crowley.
Wow.
So here's the thing, right? When you have an association with a figure that is, kind of we'll say controversial, what would you do in that instance? Would you ask them very politely to see if we could maybe work it out that people don't know us together so much? Would you just cut it off and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, we just can't be associated with each other anymore"? Or would you threaten them that if you mention my name in public, you're going to have to give me money and I will sue you? Which of those would you do?
Well, by the laws of comedic phrasing and setup, I'm going to assume it was the third one.
Yeah. So he did that. Crowley says he's a punk. He later publishes.
He's like, oh yeah? Fuck you.
Oh, yeah, well, you're a little bitch ass bitch.
He tells everyone that he is a former probationer. And despite the fact that if you look in AA publications of the time, J.F.C. Fuller is given a higher ranking so he can be in the little publication triad that you see in the beginning there. He never actually achieved any of that. He was a former probationer, and he was no longer with the order, and he sucked. But that didn't stop Crowley from later giving Dion Fortune some of his paintings when she helped contribute to his financial destitution.
He's like, here, Fuller made some bitchin' art. I mean, he was a dickhead, but you want this? It'll look pretty sick in your wall, Also, how about them Nazis we got rid of, right? Dope.
Oh, hey,
those guys are wild.
Hey, that's funny that you would mention Nazis and Mr. Fuller.
No.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm just calling him as I see him.
So he
man.
was part of the Argentinian Astrum.
Jesus.
Yeah, but Fuller to this day is actually still a very well respected military strategist.
No,
and
but is he a
historian.
Nazi?
Oh, he spoke very highly of Adolf Hitler and his military brigades.
Oh, well, get fucked. Ugh. Ugh. Wow.
Oi.
From Wikipedia, Fuller was the only foreigner present at Nazi Germany's first armed maneuvers in 1935. Fuller frequently praised Adolf Hitler in his speeches and articles, and once describing him as that realistic idealist who has awakened the common sense of the British people by setting out to create a new Germany. Fuller was honored as a guest at Hitler's 50th birthday parade, which 3 hours of completely mechanized and motorized army roared past the Fuhrer. Hitler afterwards asked, "I hope you were pleased with your children. Your Excellency, they have grown up so quickly that I no longer recognize them."
Wow. And then, so basically by this point, Crowley is like, if you mention my name in public, I'm going to kick the shit.
Well,
I know.
We don't even have time to talk about that one. Because we shouldn't even talked about his Nazi associations, but we're 2 down. We've had 2 members that we talked about, and both of them got told to kick rocks because they didn't want to be associated with Crowley. Let's see, who else do we have? We have a Frank Bennett.
Hi, everybody. I cut this down to try and be brief, but you've seen how long this episode is already. So I'll just say Frank Bennett was a student of Crowley's. He made it very far. Crowley was very impressed with him. He made him the viceroy of the OTO in Australasia. But like many before him, the newspapers got a hold of the Crowley connections in the OTO and the AA, and under pressure from his family, also including a failing marriage, he withdrew from all connection to any Thelemic organization. He died in 1930.
We never have a major fallout with him, but he doesn't go on to have any of the important things we're about to talk about, which are the AA lineages, as we call them.
The Oz.
The Oz have it.
Because of the way the AA works, there's a student and then there's the teacher. You have one guy that's above you in the chain, and everyone else tracks eventually back to Crowley. So because of that, we end up with a handful of lineages, and you will see that this practice that Crowley has of, hey, you know what? I think you're pretty cool. You're pretty cool. Never mind. Fuck ya. Kind of continues on from here. So we can see the lineages forming out from Jane Wolfe, Charles Stanfield Joan, Frater Akkad, and Carl Germer, right? These are basically the 3 lines of where everyone else who is going to be in this story later finds themselves connected to. We have Carl Germer, who becomes the only person that Crowley seems to trust. Germer was in Germany, got put into the concentration camps, and achieved knowledge and conversation of his holy guardian angel, the big special Thelema thing, by remembering the holy books and reciting them to himself while he was in there. After a story like that, you'd imagine why Crowley would be like, "You're our boy."
Ooh, yeah. Germer. God damn, buddy.
We will see that Germer is essentially the only person in Aleister Crowley's life that sticks on for the longest time. Jane Wolfe, famous American actress, she was in the Abbey of Thelema in Italy with Crowley and a bunch of other people, including someone that we're going to mention a little bit later, a guy named C.F. Russell. From Jane Wolfe, we end up getting to a woman named Phyllis Seckler, who we have a sort of recognition as being a member of the AA from Carl Germer later. And Germer, who has one student that is worth talking about and will be very important. All that said, the way this works is Jane Wolfe only makes it to Neophyte, and she takes on another student who ends up teaching a bunch of people who all proceed to sort of backbite and fight each other. Those include a man named Grady McMurtry, who would become the head of the OTO afterwards and did have direct connections and communication with Crowley at some point, and a guy named James Esselman, who essentially creates his own fucking AA and his own OTO and says, you know what, forget you guys, I'm gonna make my own OTO with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah, and it works. That's the problem. Is it's like
it was dope.
For what?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, that like I'm not even gonna make a value assessment. It's just like it worked. Like, and this becomes the norm. It's like people just OTOs just start popping up.
Yeah, OTOs and AAs just pop up left and right.
I went out to lunch one time and came back, and there was an OTO in my living room. I was like, shit.
So, and there's also David Shoemaker, who did the Temple of the Silver Star, which is, again, another, like, hey, this is legally distinct from the AA and the OTO.
Minnesota. It's the Minnesota voodoo of Thelema.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, everybody, just for clarity here, James Eshelman and David Shoemaker both have their own AA lineages that are well-known and well-respected, in addition to their OTO AA spin-off group things.
James Eshelman and David Shoemaker are pretty much guys that are trying to do their own thing and will be the people that are getting told to fuck off at the end of this story. Grady McMurtry, on the other hand, is somebody that we will have a little bit of weirdness going on with, but he is essentially part of the big bad empire kicking people's in the teeth. Back to Charles Stanfield Jones. This guy was named Frater Akkad. What's important about Frater Akkad is that he joins the AA, he does his neophyte work, and then immediately jumps to like the next to highest grade you can get. He went to Charizard with like nothing. He was
Crowley pumped him full of rare candies and said, you know, you my baby, I love you. And he held him in his arms and like kissed him on the forehead.
You Mewtwo now.
You Mewtwo now.
The important thing to know about Frater Akkad is that Crowley thought that Akkad was part of the fulfillment of a prophecy that there was going to be a magical child from his bowels. He was really cool with that, and he thought it was awesome, and Akkad found the secret to Liber El, and then, oh no, guess what? I'm sick and tired of your shit. Akkad says, you know what? I think I'm actually an abscissimist now, which is like one higher than what Crowley was. And Crowley was like, bullshit. They get mad. They get tired of each other.
He said, I'm a double. He's like, listen here, I'm like a double wizard. And he said, bullshit, you are. You get the fuck out of here.
No, that's my job.
That weak ass shit out of my fucking house.
It's like when you're kids and you're playing pretend, and he's like, well, and you were like, you guys, it's like they were playing Dragon Ball Z, and he's like, well, I'm Super Saiyan 3. And it's like, but the Boo Saga hadn't come out yet, so we didn't even know that was a thing. So it's like, I'm Super Saiyan 3. No, you're not. It doesn't even go that high. Get the fuck out of here, Akkad. But then Crowley turned around and was like, I am actually a Super Saiyan.
I saw Super Saiyan 6
on
Google,
Angel Fire, and I know it's real, so now I've got it.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan God.
His fur actually turns brown like a real gorilla. It's crazy.
And Akkad responded by getting like super hench, taking off all his clothes and running through the streets.
There's a rumor that Akkad freaked the hell out and like went around naked running around Toronto, I think they said it was, as part of a magical operation. This has not been substantiated. I'm pretty sure it's just a story that people made up. He does go around making his own order. He has a good time with it. He comes up with a bunch of like fancy names for himself and writes some interesting stuff. And, you know, he does what you'd expect. He also claimed that he had double Crowley'd and he had come up with his own new Aeon that was starting right now. So in every way, this man truly was the child of Aleister Crowley.
Which is weird.
He joins an order, he's the favorite child, and then suddenly everyone hates him, and he says, I'm doing my own cool thing now.
Well, it's funny to think about because it's like the Aeon of Horus 1900. Previous two Aeons made up the whole of the rest of human history. So it's like, all right, this one's really, really long. The next one's also very, very long. And then this one is like not even 50 years. Todd's like, all right, new one.
Eventually, Akkad just becomes a Roman Catholic. Why? Why not? But he also was still part of like occult orders and stuff. Allegedly, Wilford Talbot Smith, another OTO guy that's going to be mentioned in a minute, said that he was part of a Roman Catholic infiltration of occult groups, which I mean is one way to get church membership up again, I guess.
That's a weird one. Like he said, it was the Roman Catholics' attempt to get into occult orders. Like, were they trying to get ideas, or were they trying to like break them up? Because it's like, if you want to get rid of occult orders, just leave them alone for a minute.
They'll start fighting amongst themselves if they have no one else to fight.
They're like, where are the real Satanists? Still haven't found them. All these people, you think one of these groups waving around these swords would be trying to kill somebody, but no. They're all just arguing about butt stuff. Well, I guess the Catholic Church doesn't like that either.
No, they're arguing about who gets to do the butt stuff and when with which altar boy.
Oh.
Yep.
It's
Sorry.
awful.
In all of our excitement, we once again forgot the funniest part of this whole thing. What actually broke up Aleister Crowley and Frater Akkad was that Crowley thought that Akkad stole some books from him. I shit you not. Akkad was supposed to be selling books for Crowley. The numbers didn't add up right. Crowley got suspicious. It wasn't until 1950 that these books were actually found again, and we could all say for a fact that Akkad did not rip Crowley off. But the damage was done. They tried to mend their relationship over the years, but it never really worked. After Crowley's death, Akkad gave us the whole new aeon coming, and even though he was forced to resign from the OTO, he was still taking on AA students after Crowley's death, even though he was also a member of that Universal Brotherhood thing. One of Akkad's students, famous ethnomusicologist Harry Everett Smith, would be the teacher of one Bill Breeze, who shows up later in this story, but we don't even have time to talk about that. Fun times.
That's all well and good, but hey, we're down one person. Let's see how we can completely alienate other people. In California, there is Agape Lodge, and Agape Lodge is pretty much the happeningest spot in the U.S. for Thelema. We have all the lovely people that you know from the Strange Angel television show. We have scientist and rocketeer Jack Parsons, who is being real extra, just doing cocaine and getting fucked up and having fucking weird times in public.
Try and have a moonchild, make another Akkad.
And we have Wilford Talbot Smith.
Again, for the sake of brevity, we had to cut some things. But in no uncertain terms, Wilford T. Smith is the unsung hero of Thelema. While Crowley and Akkad were having their little tiffs, Smith is the only one trying to hold not only them together, but the only one trying to keep the lodges working. He moves from Canada, Detroit, all the way to California, just trying to keep the OTO and Thelema going. And he gets shit for it. For any of the complaints we make about him being a little creep and being a little weirdo, we should at least remember that when Crowley was making fun of this guy, when Jack Parsons was getting held up as the golden boy and looking like the cool kid, and when Akkad was getting to be the chosen one, Smith was there just trying to keep the lights on. Thank you, Wilford.
The guy who is ostensibly just trying to hold the order together, but he's also he's got his own political maneuvering in here, and he's being a weirdo. They're all being weirdos, but
also a lot of spouse shit.
Oh yeah, everyone's fucking everyone's husband and wife. I can't remember the whole spin around.
That's the thing is that in the grand scheme of things, that isn't even that weird as far as Thelemites are concerned.
True.
Stealing people's boats probably gets a little bit I didn't see that one coming. Stole a wife, I get it. Stole a boat? What the fuck? I fish on that thing.
That is a line you don't cross.
It's also notable that this was going on before Crowley dies, because there's even a point where Crowley is writing and saying, don't trust that Elron guy. He's sneaky.
Well, hang on. We need to get there first. Right. So here's the thing.
I heard Elron's a little snitch.
So Mr. Smith, the head of the lodge, while trying to get new members, doing creepy stuff and creeping on girls, and in addition to all of that, Crowley kind of just doesn't like him.
Oh no, he loves him at first.
Oh, of course, he loves him at first, but you know how this happened.
Yeah.
The problem with the prophet of your new religion still being alive is that he can very quickly go I don't like you. I don't like your face.
Crowley concocts a plan, and that plan is to tell Wilford Talbot Smith that he is a god incarnate. So he will go into retreat and meditate upon this and discover his true godliness. Now,
if you can't beat him, just gaslight them into fucking insanity.
Let me just say this. Crowley might have really thought this. That's entirely possible. He wrote him a document about it and everything.
We also know that Crowley would tell people stuff that they thought they were ready to hear, or stuff that he thought would be funny to tell them. There's a sucker born every minute, So this could have been a maneuver of let's get him out of the way.
Well, and it works because he gets him out of the way, and he kind of puts Jack in charge, because him and Jack are cool now. He's liking Jack. Jack seems to be doing his thing. He's got some reservations about it, but
dude's shooting rockets up in the sky. He's yeah, this guy's lit.
Just want to throw this out there while we're still on the subject of this. Jack Parsons winds up taking a magical name at this point, and it's really, really butchered Latin. Crowley's response to this is to say that his magical name is shrouded in a strange language he's never read before.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. It's some bullshit. I don't know if I can know what this is.
Do you think that was like a?
real,
Do you think
interesting,
that
I
was him
guess.
trying to be like cute and like a wink, wink of like this is really bad?
No, that's just very dry British sarcasm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, laughs and aristocracy.
Crowley just thinking like, look, okay, I get the American definitely where Thelema needs to be, but God, y'all don't know shit about shit, do you? And that's still what the Hellmites think to this day. God, did y'all learn to pronounce anything?
Crowley.
Agape.
Going down to the Agrippa Lodge.
Right. So Crowley's essentially like, you know what? You suck. I'm going to get rid of you by telling you you're a god, and you should immediately get out of here and go, figure out how to be a god. And Smith has a really bad time with it. It's all fucking back and forth. It really sucks. Jack is the only person that really stands by him. Crowley gets a report from that guy I mentioned a little bit earlier, Grady McMurtry. Finds out basically, yeah, Agape's kind of fucked. They don't know what they're doing. They're all fucking. They're all having bad times. They're all arguing with each other. It's not a good look. But Jack has already had his own problems. Jack has, traded wives because Wilbert Smith has his wife who just had his baby. Jack has been a busy boy. Jack made a new friend, a guy named L. Ron Hubbard. Everyone knows who L. Ron Hubbard is. I don't have to give you this, but this was before the Scientology stuff.
Just making sure, though. Jack has swapped wives.
Jack has swapped wives. He's gotten a new wife. Got a new friend named L. Ron Hubbard, who Aleister Crowley, when talking to him, says, hey, you should watch out for that L. Ron guy. He seems a little shifty.
Yeah, he's like king of the elves,
Now,
right?
excuse me, I have to send Wilford Smith, your friend, on a suicide mission metaphysically.
I have to destroy this guy's soul.
They get interested in doing some fun stuff for everyone's favorite red goddess, Babylon. They do a series of workings that are pretty interesting, and people are like, ooh, wow, that's really crazy in the future. Meanwhile, Aleister Crowley was like, this is stupid as hell, and what are you guys doing? This culminates...
The more that we condense it, the more it sounds like he's just the biggest asshole.
I mean,
no,
he
you're
was,
not, that,
he was
that
the,
part should be very obvious to anyone.
We haven't even touched on Kenneth Grant yet.
L. Ron Hubbard and Jack, because again, Jack is someone that's trying to bring Crowley's legacy into the future, correct?
Yep.
So obviously he has to make a friend and then have a horrible falling out with them. And Jack does it in a very interesting way. Jack gets a bunch of money stolen from him and his wife, his new wife, the one that he had just gotten. Then she leaves with Hubbard.
Easy come, easy go.
Classic Jack.
Which is his previous wife's sister.
Yeah, his previous wife's sister.
Oh,
we
dear
didn't even
God.
say that.
Wait, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Or maybe I did and I just didn't remember it. But what?
Oh.
What a fucking that's crazy.
Oh, man.
He is
That
what we
man's a
call
fucking
a
menace.
Chad.
So that's a Chad. That's Sigma behavior.
Sounds
Is that
like-
what that is.
No, that's a cuck move. He got his girl stolen and a boat stolen and money stolen.
It sounds like it really blew up in his face.
Yeah.
Oh, too soon.
Oh.
Hey.
I didn't know Crowley and Mothman were the same guy. That's crazy.
I've never seen him in the room together.
Is that Jack Parsons on the bridge?
Is that the Jack Parsons?
He said, I want my boat back. And then
Right.
He was yelling on the bridge going, I want my boat.
No, I mean, we haven't even touched that because not only did he lose a bunch of money and his girl, but more importantly,
What, he blew himself up?
the boat.
Oh, yeah, he did
The
lose.
boat.
He took
Dad, what have I been saying this whole time?
I'm sorry, I thought we subtly mentioned the boat and it was fine, but
I thought they were
L.
just
Ron
going
Hubbard
on a
literally got on a
3-hour
boat
tour.
and ran away with this man's money, and then Jack had to do magic to try to get the boat back.
I think the magic worked though, right? Doesn't the boat?
It works really well.
Yeah. He got fucked.
Got your boat, fucker.
Jack's a good magician, even though he's not a good judge of character.
Did he get the? He didn't get his girl back though.
Nah.
He didn't get the money back, did he?
Nah.
He got the boat back though.
Now she becomes one of Elrond's wives.
Yeah. And then Elrond goes to make what Thelema wanted to be. And what Thelema to this day is still trying to be.
A shifty cult.
And then he goes into the West.
What I'm gonna go fall back on is that the fact that he didn't get the money or the girl back shows you what his true will was. He really wanted that fucking
He
boat
really
back.
wanted that. He got the boat.
He really wanted to be a cuck.
He wanted to be a cuck.
It's his true will to be
He
a cuck.
wanted to be.
I don't give a shit. I'll get another wife. I got another wife already one time. I get another wife. I can't get another boat.
You know what gets wives, folks? Boats.
You know what? No wife means more time I can spend on the boat fishing. That's what he said.
Fishing life for me.
Getting through this, we've gotten rid of Jack. Bye, Jack.
And then, oh yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, Jack Parsons dies when rocket fuel explodes because that's what it does. And but it's probably the CIA or Scientology that actually did it. I don't think this whole idea that he just like, oh no, I dropped this can of rocket fuel, whoopsie daisy. Nah, bro.
I just want to shout out one thing he did, which was he wrote "Freedom is a two-edged sword," which is a fucking fantastic.
Oh no, don't.
essay.
But we could say that about a lot of people out here. There are.
I would wager that everyone we just mentioned, with the exception of like George Cecil Jones, I guess,
has made brilliant contributions when they weren't busy.
Oh yeah,
fighting each other and losing their money and boats.
When they weren't busy getting conned.
Yeah, when you weren't getting manipulated and made to look stupid, and when Crowley wasn't. Hey, what happens to Germer on the continent, though?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
He just hang around?
Yeah, Germer's just sort of hanging out. He's enjoying his time. He took on a student in the AA.
Michael Winslow.
What was that student's name?
That was his name, a little guy named Marcelo Motta.
Oh man, I was really close.
He's a fun little guy.
Did you say Mark Ruffalo?
This young man, he was in in various Rosicrucian orders down there in Brazil.
Wait, like real ones?
No, the fake real ones.
Oh.
So he read a biography by John Simmons of Aleister Crowley. He ended up getting introduced to Carl Germer. He started doing translations and he wrote things for Thelema, and he had essentially started taking on students of his own after him and Germer started corresponding more regularly. Here's the thing though. Carl Germer at some point starts to do that familiar Thelemite tradition of saying, "Hey, you're my student. You're pretty cool." And then goes, "You know what? I don't like you. You're kind of nuts.
Cramping my style, kid."
That's gonna be kind of a problem a little later on, especially because Motta would later proclaim himself the head of not only the AA but the OTO after Germer dies a little bit later.
And meanwhile, for anyone who's wondering, Israel Regardie is just like around.
Israel Regardie happened and then went on his merry fucking way because we're just,
Israel, like Regardie was like, I'm not gonna, as far as I know,
not even touching this.
He's like, I ain't even fucking with any of this nonsense. Although he did, he was Crowley's secretary. He did a lot of stuff with him, did a lot of stuff. That's bad. That's bad. But he did a lot of stuff. He actually did arguably the smartest thing. He figured out a bunch of the techniques and all the rituals and stuff, wrote that shit down, started showing it to people. He was like, you know what's really cool about magic? Practical application. And then he becomes friends with Christopher Hyatt. And then he writes books together. And then because Christopher Hyatt writes stuff with Lon Milo DeQuette, who's going to show up in this a little bit later. So it's like arguably the person who had, and then people to this day are still passing around clips of the Regardie tapes. So it's like arguably the smartest thing anybody involved in this Thelemic golden, from the Golden Dawn to, through Thelema Crowley stuff, the guy who had the most positive impact, probably Regardie. And he's nowhere in this story, basically.
Yeah, because he kept his head
He was
down.
like, I know exactly what to do.
Back on track here. We now have the stage set and we see all the players. Crowley, dead. This makes Carl Germer, the golden boy, the only one that ever stuck around, the only one you can ever trust, old buddy, old pal, the head of the AA and the OTO. And Germer's like, oh boy, you know what I'm going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This man refuses to initiate people. He just kind of lets the whole thing fall apart. That student we talked about from the Jane Wolfe lineage, Grady McMurtry, the guy that has had personal contact with Crowley, the guy who was essentially tapped by Crowley to be someone big and special. He says in a letter to him that, Germer's probably gonna die. He's pretty old. If I die, then he's gonna die. We probably need someone like you to do the order because we can't give it to fucking Jack. He's gonna blow himself up one of these days. No one thought about it. No one did it right. And Carl Germer just dies. And he doesn't say anything. There's no piece of paper with saying, and to Grady goes the OTO, and to Marcelo Motta goes the AA. Like, none of that happens. Everyone's just in the breeze. Like I said, the OTO had essentially like stopped functioning by this point. Maybe it's still going, but it's not really going. It's definitely not holding water. And
dying on the vine.
Yeah, dying on the vine. And we have Marcelo Motta down in Brazil, wherever that is, doing like the AA stuff.
Wherever Brazil is.
And it looks like, this, for all intents and purposes, this shit's kind of dead.
For the record, we will also say that Kenneth Grant over in England had been authorized by Carl Germer to initiate up to the 3rd degree. That didn't go so well, and eventually Kenneth Grant said he had contacted transplanetary intelligences, and they told him to reform the order. Carl Germer didn't like that. He threw Kenneth Grant out. Gerald Gardner, the founder of Wicca, had also been given an OTO charter before Crowley's death, and it went absolutely nowhere.
And then there's a light.
I am the light bringer.
A certain little weird offshoot that we don't even have fucking time to really talk about shows up in the story. They're called the Solar Lodge. There's a whole book on these people that you should all read. We'll talk about it on the show at some other point. But basically, these people are out in the desert having a good old thelemic time, doing acid. There might be connections to Marjorie Cameron, who was one of Jack's fucking ladies that he got super into.
Which definitely fits with whole, like, the sort of agape.
Oh, yeah.
They, like, these are the progenitors of them.
Yeah, this is the kind of shit that they're
or the
into.
progeny of them.
Marjorie Cameron was
dope.
It's
like they're doing drugs, they're doing crazy sex stuff.
Anyway, they broke in and stole a bunch of Germer shit after he died.
Like you do.
Like you do. I'm just saying, like, the modern OTO could take some lessons from that. None of y'all are willing to break into people's houses to get their magic documents.
There's probably a genuine fear given Germer's response as the head, that it's like, if somebody doesn't get these, they might get destroyed. They might get locked up somewhere, or they might end up in the hands of somebody who has no interest in letting anybody else see them. Like, could you imagine just holding on to these, like the most important documents of your religion, which there aren't that many people that actually follow it, and there's some yahoo that's just holding on them, has no interest in actually letting you see them. Bad news. You should probably just go take them. I'm just saying, if you care about Thelema, you'll do what Solar Lodge did. You go take them.
We have a dead Carl Germer. We have a Marcelo Motta that's down in Brazil doing his own thing. And we have a OTO that has been dying on the vine forever. But remember that letter we had where McMurtry was told, hey, you're probably going to be the guy who takes over after Germer dies? He was essentially told, with Germer's approval, he would be able to take charge of the whole work of the order in California and reform the organization. Took on the title of Caliph of OTO. Hey, here's Israel Regardi. And there's Gerald York. These are two people that Thelemites know, but they're there. They support it. He starts doing the OTO thing again.
Oh,
He's got Seckler there with them. He's got Helen Parsons Smith. Hi, Miss Parsons. There's just a handful of people that are still alive. But from this point forward, the organization is back on track. They're doing stuff. This is where we run into another little interesting part of this story.
So how does that factor in with the Solar Lodge steals a bunch of stuff, but then Grady starts rebuilding stuff?
I think he was just like, oh shit, they're like stealing the stuff, and there's this weird group claiming to be the affiliated with the OTO. We should probably get this organization back in track.
We need to batten down the hatches so that
we need to make this
guys can't just claim to be.
We need to secure the legacy of Crowley. I think is going to be the rallying cry for the rest of this story.
So they don't get in a court case where they're shooting Patronuses at each other.
No, but they do get in some court cases.
Oh yeah.
You remember that Motta guy we were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, he's still down there, and he's got some interesting students now too.
Like,
well, there's a lot of people that can trace their lineage to Motta. There's just a lot of people. There's Freighter Thor, who is still has students in their line. There's a guy named Ray Els who has his own little organization called HORE, because we just love cute acronyms here. We even have a Mr. David Bresson who has done a couple interesting things, such as having new students give him naked pictures, and there's one important student that we end up being brought into because of Marcelo Motta, and boy does he have a fascinating story to begin with. So J. Daniel Gunther, right? J. Daniel Gunther didn't know that the AA was still a thing. He'd done quite a bit at the time of like trying to find some stuff, I guess. Maybe he wrote in the back of a book being like, hey, are you guys the real AA? I'd really like to talk about it. And he didn't find anybody. So he decided that meant that he could be the AA.
Well, no one was claiming it.
No one else was using it.
Yeah.
So he wrote to a bookstore that is very famous for being a part of the Thelema world, that a Mr. James Wasserman, another prominent Thelemite and historian of Thelema, was working at, and he said, like, hey, I'm the AA. If anyone wants to write to me, you can write to me. And Wasserman was like, no. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
I don't think that's how that works. Or if nothing else, he at least had some very interesting questions for a minute. But hey, that's completely fine. He he might have made some claims about having talked to the secret chiefs and they said it was okay. So, let's let bygones be bygones. All that said, eventually, Gunther was introduced to Marcelo Motta, someone who we can say is a legitimate connection all the way back to Aleister Crowley here. And they decided, you know what? I think, in the history of our group, we've done this quite a bit. But you want a relationship with each other and really enjoy each other and think we're really cool and then say, fuck you, just one more time. Just one more time.
So Motta and Gunther hook up. Motta picks Gunther up, puts him on his knee, and says, all right, if you've been a real good boy, what can I do for you? He says, I want my true will and knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. You know what? You can have it. And then he gives him a little kiss on the forehead. And then right as everything's about to seem like we're going to get back on track, he's like, but what if I said, fuck you, kid, and slapped him around? Is that pretty much pretty much happened?
Pretty much what happened.
Got it.
That is like pretty much dead ass what happened. And supposedly it had something to do with Gunther's paranoia about another superior, because I guess Motta wasn't his direct superior in the order, just a part of his lineage. But regardless, he said he was going to murder his superior and shamed him into renouncing his membership to the AA. The important thing to note about this is we would begin then part of the huge legal battle between the OTO and Marcelo Motta.
The OTO as in...
the Caliphate OTO of Grady McMurtry. We have the two organizations in the Western Hemisphere. At the same time, Kenneth Grant, who met Crowley and, got told to, hey, go get me some cigarettes, you punk.
So I will show you the 9th degree. Will you please just go down and get my Prilosec and my athletic supporter, and I don't even care. I don't give a shit. Sure, Mr. Crowley, whatever you need. I'm just so psyched. Have you ever heard of this Lovecraft guy? Yeah. I mean, it's got nothing to do. Whatever. I don't care. Go away. You bottom me.
So meanwhile, Kenneth Grant's over in England being like, I am the OTO and nothing's ever going to change that.
Ain't nothing bad going to happen today, Crowley.
And what year is it about here? We've kind of run through a lot of this.
We are right at about 1974, 75.
Okay. So in other weird, goofy offshoots, has Berdio's OTOA shown up yet either?
Oh yeah.
So that's
we
also
haven't even talked about that. I will give the briefest of rundowns.
No, I just want know that while these two large groups that are like have this weird air of legitimacy, because like we trace our line back to Crowley are going around, the two most unhinged, crazy people versions of the OTO, the Typhonian and the the OTOA.
We cannot even begin to go into the Ordo Templi Orientis Antiqua, which may not even be a real thing. It's Haitian, it's voodoo, it might be real.
Like basically the Kenneth Grant and the Berdio OTOs are operating just in the middle of like,
we got Haitian voodoo fucking shit. Here's what we really have is there was another student, someone else who was all the way back when Crowley was in Italy was there, a guy named C.F. Russell, right? C.F. Russell did some crazy stuff and he butted heads with Crowley. And you know what he really didn't like? He really, really didn't like Crowley having sex with him. He really didn't like that Crowley wanted to paint his face up and make him look all like a 2-bit whore on the Italian streets and then go run around trying to suck Russell's cock. Like he really was not okay with all of this.
Clearly there has to be more to magic than me basically getting raped. Which I hate to say it like that, but that's basically what it is, right? It's like,
Right.
let me sexually assault you for magical purposes. It's like there's clearly
he agreed to it.
Well,
in a
okay.
point, but like, and he didn't. Russell has a complicated relationship with Crowley, and he wrote books later in his life that would tell you all sorts of interesting and fascinating insights to both that man and this equally interesting and fascinating man. But the thing you need to remember is that Russell and Crowley really liked each other, and then they didn't like each other. Oh my God. It's like it's a fucking paradox or something. Why do people keep liking each other and then hating each other? To the point that Crowley put out in print, he especially warns all persons against C.F. Russell, Chicago, Illinois, and his agents. He is a thief, swindler, and blackmailer.
And he never called me back.
He has stolen the property of the order, and he has used it to enable him to pose as a representative and so to carry on his swindles upon would-be initiates. Russell is a man of no education. He cannot even spell correctly. Steps have already been taken to prosecute him for his frauds. So I need you to understand real quick that this man was doing all of this shit, and he wrote all sorts of crazy shit. He took Crowley's I Ching book and reprinted it. He took all the holy book stuff that he could find at the time, which wasn't a whole lot, and he wrote stuff about it. He took the Star Ruby and he taught people it, and he taught his own crazy sex magic stuff, and he even got into projective geometry. Russell is absolutely unhinged, and it's beautiful. This man is one of my favorite fucking occultists of all time. And that is where Berdio and the Karanzan Club people all come from. So keep that in mind, that this was Crowley said, that guy is a complete fucking shitbird and I hate him. And then and years later, we have the legitimate OTO, quote unquote, because they got the stupid letter saying I'm the Caliph. And Marcelo Motta, who just got so mad that he decided that I'm also the head of the OTO, after kicking out like all of his students and getting into legal battles with the OTO over the material of Crowley's. Because he was like, because Crowley wanted his literary estate, which was not supposed to include the AA and the magical workings, essentially, but it does, so who cares? Crowley left all of that stuff to the OTO. So they're now into a big argument of which one of us is the OTO. Marcelo Motta saying, no, we're the real OTO, with his, I think they were later called the SOTO because they had to change their name. But
the Soto?
But we have Marcelo Motta saying, I'm the real OTO. And Grady McMurtry's going, no, we're the real OTO. And Michael Burdio's like, I want to fuck the OTO in its ass.
Which is ironic, given that he comes from Russell, who was like, I really don't want Crowley fucking me in the ass.
Well, if stories are to be believed, it wasn't because it wasn't because he was getting fucked in the ass that the problem was. Maybe he just didn't like Crowley.
I just don't like you. I love you, Crowley. I'm just not in love with you.
So,
or maybe he was bad at it.
Just a quick note, Michael Berdio joined the Karanzan Club well after Russell had actually split from it. That just shows you how nuts stuff it was already going by that point.
But where does that J. Daniel Gunther guy come from? That's kind of interesting. Like, what happened to him? Like, why would I mention him? He just seems like another student.
Yeah, he's just one of the guys that got thrown out.
Right. Well, you'd think that. But you remember that James Wasserman guy I talked about? He's friends with Gunther. And there's another guy that became his student, someone who also got thrown out of the AA by Motta, a guy named William Breeze. Wonder if they're going to do anything important.
Probably not.
No.
Drew Brees got thrown out of the OTO?
Wait. The guy who made Febreze was in the OTO?
So, finally.
We've got legal battles on all sides. We've got crazy wackadoos that are just proliferating all of Crowley's work. There's claims about who owns what. Certain things aren't getting published. Certain things are getting thrown out there by people who just see a quick opportunity to make a buck. And on the fringes, there's some notable people. You know, you got your Berdios, you got your Grant, you got your Gunther, just sort of coming out of the woodwork a little bit and sticking their heads out and saying, almost because there's no one there to really check them, they're just like, yeah, I'm the head of the OTO. Yeah, I run the AA. Whatever. But no one's there to slap me with a legal notice yet.
And
where's this go?
Where's this go? Well, the Caliphate OTO reigns supreme. Motta gets told to eat shit. You don't own anything. Motta keeps going until he fucking dies, like you do. Something weird happened because if you notice, right, there were lots of arguments about the OTO because of the legal properties. But as far as the spiritual order that was the AA, No one's making claims about that. Everyone acknowledges that, hey, you know what? Motta was the guy who got his shit from Germer. We should be fine with that, right? And even at the same time, Phyllis Seckler's still alive, and she took on students later, and she got recognized by Carl Germer, allegedly, because all of this stuff always revolves around fucking, like, letters that you could read one way or another if you have the letter, because God knows if it got buried somewhere.
Or destroyed because it said something somebody didn't want to hear.
Yeah, but at any rate,
or it got solar
we
lodged.
at least have 2 people here that we can say are legitimate AA initiates.
Sure.
But then Motta dies. So what do you think happens? Do you think everyone goes like, "Oh, hey, Phyllis, you're there, right?"
No.
Especially because Phyllis is like with Grady and stuff like that. But
Oh, so what arguably could have been like the coming together, like it's like, you know what? With Motta gone, we can maybe solidify these 2 groups, these 2 major thelemic orders, and even if they don't like combine into something, it's like at least everybody that's involved is kind of on the same page, and they all kind of not. Maybe,
oh, my poor child,
Yeah,
you
but
don't know what's about to happen, do you?
Wait. Can I take a guess?
Go for it.
Is it I really fucking hate you now?
Yep. Yeah. It's I really fucking hate you now. So, you remember that Daniel Gunther kid?
Right.
The one that he said, hey, you know what? I'm the AA because the secret chiefs told me so. And then he was like, well, actually, you know what? I get it. I'll join the real AA. Well, he's back. And he's like, you know what? The AA is done. It fell to pieces and stuff, and we're going to revive it now. Me and my buddies.
Who are his buddies?
You remember that William Breeze guy I was talking about?
Yeah.
That guy.
So
And a guy named Martin Starr who would write a book later, right?
Ringo's son?
Yeah. Cool. But, I mean, don't you remember that Motta had a bunch of students? Don't pay attention to any of them. And Phyllis Seckler is still alive. Like, he's over there. Nah, don't pay attention to that.
So literally just like
Gunther, who was not a member of the AA, because first off, he actively said, I'm no longer a member because Motta made me feel bad about planning to kill somebody or whatever.
Okay, wait.
But now he's the head of it.
So I just realized, you know what this is? This is walking to headquarters and changing the locks. Just, you know, like a press release sort of way. Just saying it's yours now. Like we could all like just say we were running the AA now.
Yeah.
And it would just be it would be just about as legitimate.
Just as legitimate as most of these people. The big problem really comes a little bit later, right? Because so you know, I told you we just won the court case, and you know it's official. We own all the stuff, and Motta can eat shit, right? Isn't that wonderful? We're all celebrating, right? Good.
Motta gets so mad he dies about it.
Well, no, a little bit later he dies about it because first McMurtry dies.
Oh, okay.
We're the official OTO, but the guy who's been running the show is now dead.
And arguably like the person that did have the most legitimate claim.
Yeah, at least to the OTO,
Yeah.
probably. Woohoo! But also, you know, the most legitimate claim is a pretty sketchy area
Dubious
at this
still.
point. Like, you know, but what we can say for a fact is we have an interesting person that shows up to be the leader after that. You remember that William Breeze guy that was a student of that Jed Gunter guy?
Okay.
That's him.
How did he get? Wait. No, okay. And I knew that, but I didn't think about it. How?
They had a council, and everyone decided that he would be the best leader.
The
He was nominated by
meeting.
Helen
Great.
Parsons Smith.
What a
You know,
A grave error for all involved.
Yeah.
if you notice, something weird just happened here. After all this fighting to get all these orders and to decide who's the real deal, right?
Motta's lineage comes by and
not even Motta's lineage, because Motta kicked them all out.
Motta's rejects.
A guy who had to resign after already saying that he was the secret chief's chosen one of the AA is now the leader of the AA.
And his
one of
girl
his
Friday,
and his buddy, his old pal, is now the leader of the OTO. Now, I'm just saying, like, that's you can argue about whether that's right or whether that's wrong or whether we should recognize the other lineages or any of that stuff. That's all fine, but we can at least let the healing begin, right?
Wait. I have a question.
Yes.
Are those two going to hate each other now?
No, not those two.
Really?
But everyone else is about to get fucked. So during this time, there was a certain member, a guy named Patrick King. He wanted to do something that was pretty new because, as you may or may not know, the big secret of the OTO is sex magic.
Are we going to get sued now?
Yeah, we're going to get sued. We're going to get sued for other reasons, but we can say for a fact that the big secret of OTO is sex magic. And the big thing that Crowley thought was really cool is like, what if I did butt sex magic instead of just regular sex magic?
And C.F. Russell was like,
no, I'm not falling for this one again.
And he was like, all right, Vicky, come on, we're going to the desert.
This was called the 11th degree in writings of Crowley. So Mr. Patrick King decided that he wanted to reconstitute the 11th degree and write like rituals or initiation and stuff on it.
Brave.
And McMurtry, who was the head of the OTO at the time, was like, you know what? Awesome. Do your thing. I don't know shit about that. I never got fucked in the ass.
And he was like, well, do you want to go out to the desert? And he's like, nah, too old.
With Mr. William Bree is now the head of the order. Bree starts kicking out all of those people that are now the 11th degree.
I don't have it, so
I guess so.
I didn't get it, so you can't have it.
Maybe it's just because it was something that, a new upstart runner guy, some modern guy did this. But, Patrick himself also eventually fucking, gets told to kick rocks. And he unfortunately he has a interesting and rough life over in somewhere in Eastern Europe. And he dies after getting into a dispute with his landlord, and they hit him in the fucking head and he bleeds out. The police do, I mean.
Shit.
I said it was a landlord, didn't I? So that's unfortunate, but all of those people get kicked out of the OTO because, once again, the thing to remember here is that the history of Thelema is the history of you're cool and now you're not.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? Very quickly over to England, where Kenneth Grant basically gets told in the same fashion that you need to, kick rocks, get the fuck out of here. They have to change their name from the Typhonian OTO to the Typhonian Order. And they're doing their completely different thing all on their own. And they're a whole other bag of worms.
Kenneth Grant, notable for saying that, like, butt stuff
icky.
Was, like, icky.
And it definitely wasn't.
It's like, I was wrong.
Magic.
It's like, that was definitely a misstep as far as sex magic. Kenneth Grant's just that fucking Brad Neely sketch where it's like, I'm going to bring back fucking in the vag. Too long. We have gone without it.
But that kind of leads us to where we are now, right? And where we are now is about 2016, right?
I mean, there's probably a little bit in between that, but yeah.
Something that I hope we've made abundantly clear does not only are there tons and tons of lineages of people who knew Crowley, got the pat on the butt or whatever, and got the AA brand so they could go make their own little AA.
Crowley runs into a kid at a bus stop, and then 20 years later, that kid has an OTO branch or something.
Right, yeah. So I just hope you understand the wide breadth of these things, right?
And keep in mind, like, by now, the IoT has already become a thing. There's been let's call it probably two cycles of like occult revivals already by this point. Crowley himself is cemented as one of the most influential occult minds.
The new Aeon itself started over 100 years ago. Like, this has been going on. So this is how long this has been going on. It's now 2018. And a guy named Keith Reddy writes a book called One Truth, One Spirit. And it's ostensibly a history of the OTO and the AA, right? But what it really is a whole book dedicated to telling you why that guy, J. Daniel Gunther, who as I told you before, was not actually an AA member because he said, all right, I guess I'm going to go. And the OTO that was made by Grady McMurtry, which, again, questionable whether or not that letter really authorized him to make the OTO a thing again. Questionable that the guy running it right now is the student in the AA of a guy who is not actually a member of the AA in any sort of
but everybody
realistic connection.
But just like people around were like, yeah, he'll probably do fine.
Yeah, he's fine. We're the official OTO. This is our official AA. This is what we like. This is our thing. So we kicked out all the people that might start disagreeing with us too much.
We've kicked out anybody that might have offered any let's call it paperwork that might have clashed with what we were doing.
Yeah.
We
Michael
gave-
Burdio is like old and just chilling in Chicago. We're not
Kenneth
worried
Grant
about him
got a
anymore.
noogie.
Kenneth Grant's dead. We have nothing left to lose at this point. So we're gonna write a book where we explain to everyone why we are the real deal and why the OTO and the AA have always been like a package deal,
and how they're for realsies, for
And-
realsy dealsy, the super legitimate order, and no one should question it.
And if you have an AA lineage that doesn't recognize us as the real deal, you're fucked up and not the right. You need to get right with Christ, bruh.
Yeah.
If you're willing to fall in line now, you get to be a part of the thing. And if you're any sort of outlier, they're going to say, fuck you. So what was supposed to be an abridged history of Thelema's telling you fuck you has instead turned into a long history lesson of why people feel the need to backbite and fight and try to delegitimize each other.
I mean, what have we done this whole time? I
True.
mean, basically what this comes down to is that it's like, who is the legitimate authority to the OTO or the AA?
Me.
Yeah, me. There's no apostolic succession. There was no laying of hands. There was court cases and spitting on each other.
Yay.
And CF
Claims
Russell,
of- yeah,
CF
it's-
Russell really didn't like having to have sex with Crowley. And all I know is that
What did we learn, class?
I'm glad that the OTO still exists. I'm glad the AA still exists. I'm glad that these are still things.
I don't know if I am.
What I'm left with is this vibe of like, if you've ever been in the South, right? You'll run into like these Baptist churches and you'll go down like 4 feet down the road and there's another Baptist church and you're trying to figure out where the schism happened. And it's like, or you know what? It's the emo Phillips joke where it's like, hey, do you believe in God? And like, yeah, are you Jewish? Are you Christian? Oh, I'm Christian. Me too. What are you, Protestant or Catholic? I'm a Protestant. Oh, me too. What are you, a Lutheran, a Baptist? I'm a Lutheran. Ah, me too. Council of the Reformation of 1886 or the Council of the Reformation of 1867. And it's like 1867. And I said, die, heretic.
What I'm left with more than anything is the sense that it's been bad from the root, if that makes sense.
Like the idea of Crowley trying to seed a proper continuation.
It's not even that the idea was bad. Like, it's not like oh, Crowley, you did it wrong, you bum, you damn fool. It's not that. It's just that the issues that seem to have presented themselves through the society of Thelema. And again, keep in mind, this was a simplified overview so we could make jokes about Russell getting boinked in the bomb and
Well, we haven't even-
Jack Parsons being the bomb.
We didn't even get into like the thing of like them buying back the Jimmy Page Playhouse or the secret documents that no one's allowed to see.
Yeah, or the
might not
fucked
be
up attempts to keep the Crowley works out of the public domain.
Yeah, like
forever, like
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah, or like, and then just the overall thing of like,
no, we stuck it strictly to Thelemites hating each other.
Yeah,
and
it just
infighting.
the constant thing of like it's like from what it seems like it just doesn't. Mostly what seems to be the inciting problem is just like old guard, new guard.
Yeah,
the minute somebody becomes like the heir apparent, the person who's established tries to destroy them, which is so fucking weird.
Yeah, right. Like you would think that Crowley would have wanted his students to succeed more, but he also, I guess, maybe the better way of putting it is that Crowley wanted a successor that he felt was actually going to be worthy of. Maybe Crowley's standards were too high, but I guess, hey, if you're trying to make the fucking the heir apparent of the new Aeon, you can't have slouches.
That's the thing I brought up in the Discord the other day, or actually, that day or yesterday, I don't remember. Yeah, where it's like all these people that he wound up shunning away were people that were like, "Oh, okay, I get what you're doing," and like it's like radical self-improvement and walking your own path and doing this whole thing. All right, I'm gonna take your thing and do my own thing with it. And he was like, "No,
ironically,
fuck
what
you."
He said he wanted most of the time.
It's what it is. It's And again, I think it's more complicated than this because I do have a lot of respect for Crowley. I have a lot of respect for most of the people I just said terrible things about in this. But it really is a bit of the bad mother sort of thing where you're like, look, now I want you to follow your true will, but only if you really want to. I'm not going to make you do it. And then they do it wrong. What the fuck? Why are you doing it? Or it's the, you can do whatever you want. And then you get mad that I did something. That's what it is.
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
No, not like that.
Yeah,
Be
no.
yourself.
Someone earlier had made a comment to me about that.
What, that Audio Slave song?
Thelema? Well, here you go. C.F. Russell really didn't want to fuck Crowley. Bertio wanted to fuck everybody. Gunther actually did fuck everybody, but not like that.
Kenneth Grant was really into tentacles.
You know what's funny to me? The Kenneth Grant is arguably the person that has the most interesting shit to say as far as all of this. Like, as far as like the actual progression of magic. Like, granted, Kenneth Grant's a nutter butter. When it comes to like the Guntherites and Breeze and all that stuff, like, these fuckers don't have anything good. They don't have anything worth talking about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We were just bitching about that super secret document that got thrown out, and it's like, oh, it's just like it's Resh with extra steps.
It's hey, I took some things from Vision and the Voice and Stella Rube, and I added more motiony things to Resh. Isn't it cool? Isn't it cool to turn to the quarters and say stuff? Isn't that so cool? Isn't that the pinnacle of fucking magic?
Meanwhile, Bertio in like the first 50 pages is like, bro, you need to find the 8 directions, which are going to be the 8 limbs of your spider vessel, because you need to bring about the Zotherian current, which was shown to us by the Iwas physics.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Okay, actually,
I did what, Mike? Yeah. I'm not saying it's better. I'm not saying it's like objectively true and amazing, but that it's at least interesting. At least makes you want to know more.
Yeah. So at any rate, after that book got published, obviously all the other AA lineages all come out and they're like, hey, that's really fucked up. Meanwhile, there's a completely other side of this. There's a dude named Jerry Cornelius who also claims to be the proper head of the AA, because he was a student of Grady McMurtry. And I know what you're thinking, like, wait a minute, was Grady actually in the AA? I thought he was OTO. He was a student of Phyllis Seckler, and he never really made it past probationer. And then later he said, no, because I talked to Crowley, and Crowley said that I was in the AA. And I'm a Magus, which is like,
that's like Super Saiyan 2.
Yeah, it's like, you know who other Maguses are? It's like Crowley and Moses.
Yeah. Siddhartha.
Yeah, Buddha. Like, these
Krishna.
are the Grady McMurtry, a man who was an alcoholic and a head of a pseudo-Masonic order. That's what I think of in the company of Buddha.
And Jesus.
No, I don't think Jesus was. Jesus was fake, according to Crowley.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So at any rate,
look, I'm not gonna question.
But
we just dropped 15 other important religious ones. But sure, let's just be like, oh yeah, but Jesus bad. I was like, oh,
that's
sure,
literally Thelema.
Yeah, I mean, like we needed to do that one. Sure, just call me out, make me look like an asshole.
So
you were really cool, and now you're not.
And then of course there's the actual Motta students, like the 2 of them that didn't get thrown out, that are still down in Brazil doing their own thing.
And those boys in Brazil, man.
There's even a line from Russell of the AA, but you can question how that goes. That's entirely on you. I don't really care. I think there's some great guys in that lineage, to be honest. The point is, all of them really didn't like the idea that, like, hey, wait a minute, Jed, we were there when you got thrown out. What are you doing, bro? And then in 2018, they get a book that says, man, y'all really need to get down with this. And they're like, what the fuck, man? This is brutal.
Wrote a book for people who had no idea what was going on, to be like, oh, well, I guess they are the real deal. I'll join them and then give them my money so they can buy the Jimmy Page Playhouse.
Right. Yeah. So at any rate, there's so much more to this. We tried to keep this confined to Thelemic arguments and backbiting and throwing each other out and saying that you're not a pope anymore. the thing to remember from this is that you listener, you are the legitimate head of the OTO and the AA, and I will send my report to your desk first thing in the morning about the state of the order, sir, or madam.
You are
I
the
think,
reincarnation of Crowley.
You are the reincarnation of Aleister Crowley, and you have all the legitimacy that anyone would ever need to claim any sort of magical authority. And all that really matters is, are you doing the work honestly and earnestly?
And can you go and get the locks changed before?
Yeah, and can you change the locks before anyone can call you on it?
Gary, what do you think about that? Because you didn't know all of this going in. What do you think of Thelema now?
It's a bunch of fucking like man, it's a lot of drama.
Yeah. This
the
is
understatement of the century.
Yeah, this
God
is why
damn. You can't even write soap operas like this. This is like stupid.
At least soap operas
But I
would
love it.
have like a pretty lady that has amnesia.
And not like
And
a
then
dude fucking a dude.
And not a not a dude,
fucking
not
a
two
dude.
dudes out in a desert having
Significantly.
sex.
I mean, that was just fine, but not in this context.
Oh yeah, I guess that's very heteronormative. Yeah, that's kind of shitty on my part. My point is that at least a soap opera would have like, something exciting to really hook you. With this, it's like, man, it seems like things might be working out a little bit. Better have a schism real quick.
Yeah.
Who would you say has the most legitimate claim?
Like legitimately, who has the most?
Who has the most
legitimate
claim? Who has the most legit claim to any of this? I think nobody. I think the answer is literally nobody.
I will say that I think the single person alive right now that you could say is an actual member of the Great White Brotherhood of Aleister Crowley is, I don't know, Tom Hanks. Everyone likes Tom Hanks. They probably let him in.
Like, despite all this, there's good stuff from a lot of these people, even people that we personally don't like as like people or like by their actions. There's neat stuff to be found from a lot of these people.
Again, I would wager that every single one of them, even Gunther has something worth reading, even if it's just for the curiosity of it. If nothing else, you'll get a lot of ideas of what not to do. I think that's important.
I think in a way, part of the issue, right, is that Thelema doesn't have enough people. It has just enough people to be like a big blob on the internet and stuff like that. And, little lodges peppering places, but they don't have enough going on to be organized the way, like, say, a global, like a world religion is, like the Catholic Church or something.
They're not Scientology, man.
Yeah.
Not.
They don't even have enough. They don't even have like bishops going around and like smacking people up and being like, hey, you need to act right. There's the folk Thelemites really are the ones that you'll probably run into more than anything. And those are just people talking about the ideas they have.
Right. Like that's just Coco, right? Coco will talk to you about the Thelema and give you some cool ideas, tell you what they think about it. But like Coco is not a part of this. Coco can't. I ain't one of those dudes.
Coco can't initiate you into and give you some grade papers. I mean,
unless it's in the Great Brotherhood of the Minnesota Voodoo,
which is also part of the OTO.
Yes, it's a subsidiary.
The holy lineage of the big tent of Minnesota Voodoo Temple Orientis.
Unbroken. It's the only unbroken line.
It's the Minnesota.
The Minnesota. There we go. We got there.
Oh my lord. I love it.
Love it.
Oh boy.
All right.
We've got our episode title.
Got the episode title. And with that, we can have our very quick palate cleanser. How goes the work? In 3 sentences or less. Gary, how goes the work?
Pretty cool. Just kidding. Life's abysmal, but we tread on.
Okay. Coco.
Inspirational.
Coco, how about you?
The work's going well. I going down a weird path, reading a book about William Blake.
I love William.
William Blake is our favorite on this show. He's our favorite Sagittarius.
Dope.
Without a doubt.
Have you read John Higgs's book about him?
No, what's it called?
It's just called William Blake versus the World. There's also a recording of him reading it. It's incredible.
We will have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so good. Highly recommended. That's my plug.
Oh, that's good. Co-host, what about you? How's the work?
3 sentences or less.
Uh-huh.
Random weird spirit showed up. Told me not to trust him. I should have listened.
For sale. Baby shoes.
Never worn.
Fucking haunted.
Nah, I mean, actually, I'll say this. Weird spirit showed up. Said he was a trickster. He definitely is.
We well, in that case, I invoked a trickster archetype myself that I didn't think about. That has a particular poignancy to Thelema for me and my approach to it. And we just recorded like a 4-hour episode, so I think it worked. Okay.
With all of that said,
this has been Chaos Magic News. The only podcast that is the one single true heir to the legacy of Aleister Crowley, to the Ordo Templi Orientis, going back to the right of Memphis Mizraim, and we are the current AA's biological father.
Oh, yep.
If you or
want to
a
get
loved
called
one
a magic baby and kissed on your forehead.
No, if you or a loved one have been affected by the legacy of Aleister Crowley and Thelema, you can seek help at chaosmagicnews.com, where we will have articles, links to the pod, and links to our ongoing interview series. Our latest 2 things, we're, in fact, both Thelema-centric. We did an interview with Seth Salem, who has a modern version of the tale we are telling.
Is it so? It's like neon future or what?
No, it's like it's like poetry. It fucking rhymes. It really does.
It's like sex poetry. It fucking rhymes.
It fuck rhymes.
Is that white stains?
I mean, wow! I didn't realize I had my
Yes.
camera on. Jesus.
If you would like to talk to us more, even though we've just talked to you for way too long, you can join our Discord and come talk to awesome people like Coco and Gary, and we have wonderful watch parties, and we talk about the work everyone's doing, and we also just share spicy memes, so you can do that. If you could possibly find it in your heart to support this financially, especially after this, I don't know what to say. But you could take that money and go to patreon.com/chaosmagicnews, where you will get, for your simple contribution, the backlog of all the wonderful bonus episodes that we have done. We do 2 a month. That means every week, every month, every week, you get a new episode of CMN. Aren't you lucky?
And you know what? I'm going to, balls on the table. You do it right now. I am going to craft up digital grade papers for the Minnesota
That's awesome.
that is going to say that you're all what grade do we want to give them?
You can all be grade 7.
That's what I got kicked out, so it makes sense.
And if you need anything else from us, you can check us out on social media. I mean, all of them, pretty much every single one of them. Think of that social media that you know no one's on. We're on it.
Blue Sky?
Yes.
Zanga.
Shit.
Indeed.
Now I got to make a Zanga.
Molko
Thanks
space.
a lot. It's 7th grade all over again.
But we're on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, at Chaos Magic News, GoDaddy.com, Vampire Freaks,
skunksareforever.org.
Vampire Freak.
FetLife. We're all on FetLife.
And if you, oh God, no, oh no, I forgot this is a regular episode. That means I have to do it. Do I have to do it?
Oh, or what? We got to read off all of our special listeners that decided that what we need to do is list off all of the names of the lovely new initiates to the Minnesota.
There we go.
Grade 7. Here we go. Drum roll, please.
I'm going to play fucking taps this time. I can't believe I'm making this episode longer.
Shout outs to.
Thank you, Obsplek. Thanks you, Andrea WK. Thank you, Pope Loki Sater, the 23rd LLC. Thank you, Local. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Cios93. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Coco. Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you, Fyodor. Thank you, Ice Magic Meditation Society Acolyte #1.
That's Ice Magic Johnson. Okay.
Thank you, Venus Christ. And we had more people join us. Oh, thank you, Sylv.
Well, don't sound so dejected.
No,
Sylv is a wonderful individual.
We love Sylv, but Sylv will understand that I'm at my wit's end right now.
It's 2 a.m.
And oh my god, oh no, we had another one that I just missed. Oh god. Thank you, Michael Tremov.
And just because they had to add more work onto me, thank you, Tangy Darling, who joined like the day after we recorded this.
Your dollars are being put to wonderful therapy for me for this episode.
It's great because the show has already paid for itself this year.
Woo!
So that means the rest of the money can go to our legal fees.
When the OTO destroys this podcast and our website.
They can destroy this podcast, but they cannot destroy the spiritual lineage of the holy line of the big tent of the voodoo Minnesota.
Right.
Voodoo, hoodoo.
It's going to be like Chris Chan. That name's going to get longer every fucking time.
All right. And with that, Coco, would you like the last word?
Hot babes of the abyss in your area want to send you a message.
Hell yeah.
All 93 of them.
All right, guys. There's nothing else to say, but do what thou wilt. It should be the whole of the law.
Love is the law. Love under will.
93.
Thanks for listening, everybody. I hate all of you.
Well,
there's no podcast anymore.
30 seconds of technical difficulties, and it's like, man, fuck these guys.
You're like, you guys don't know how to run a fucking show for like 5 seconds.
Let's see
and then you decide who's going to replace us.
You know what? Fine. Y'all, you know what? Y'all
Just do
go
the
ahead,
show. Do the show.
your own
Do the show. We'll just sit here and be quiet. Fine.
Yeah, fine.
all right. So everybody, welcome to CMN News. That's right. I said the N in the news part. That's how I do it. My name's Gary. I got a great co-host with me.
Is it?
He's a great co-host. Unlike the other banter that we see where it's Kennedy and they always say negative things about co-hosts, this is my favorite person in the world, Coco.
Thank you. You can call me Cohost.
Aw, you see, he's already fucking writing his own shit.
I'm fucking steaming. I'm burning up right now. Oh my
I'm
God.
so hot.
Oh
my God.
Oh, shit. That's so good.